Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and to our honorable members. Good afternoon. In today's meeting, we have the following members in attendance. We have the Vice Chairperson, Johnny T. Pimentel, Deputy Majority Leader, David J.J. Suarez, Deputy Minority Leader, Franz L. Castro, Deputy Minority Leader, Presley C. De Jesus, Representative Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez, Representative Francisco Jose Bingo Matugas, Representative Jose S. Aquino II. We also have Representative Antonio A. Ferrer and Representative Lex Anthony Chris Colada and also Representative Raul Daniel Manuel. Your Honors.
Thank you very much, Comsec Attorney Maribik. Good afternoon to my distinguished colleagues, members, invited resource persons, and to the public watching us via the FB page of the House of Representatives. Thank you for attending today's meeting as I anticipate an exhaustive discussion on the issues submitted to the jurisdiction of this committee. The committee called this meeting to deliberate on issues raised by the Honorable David J.J. Suarez in his privileged speech delivered on November 28, 2023 on the alleged fake news peddling of SMNI. The plenary directed this committee to immediately deliberate on the matter, thus we scheduled it today. The committee also received the referral of House Resolution number 230 on the alleged fake news peddling and baseless red tagging of individuals, groups, and organizations by SMNI, and House Resolution number 1428 on the alleged fake news and grave threats against Representative Franz Castro by former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and SMNI. Both resolutions authored by the Honorable Franz Castro, Arlene Rosas, Raul Daniel Manuel sought from the entities action on the various complaints against SMNI. These resolutions and the privileged speech will be deliberated together in accordance with Section 35, last paragraph of the House Rules, which provides that bills on similar and related subject matter shall be scheduled on the same meeting. News reporting is a powerful medium that provides the public of crucial and vital information on current events, weather, government workings, and other significant reports that affects the daily lives of the citizenry. It can influence people and may generate public opinion and mistrust on matters involving public interest. It is therefore important that news reporting is fair and accurate. Under the Broadcasters Code of the Philippines, news media practitioners are mandated to observe fairness in the objectivity in delivering news. Article 1, Section 3A states that news reports shall be fair, factual, and objective. Section 3C further states that side comments expressing personal opinions while a news item is being reported or delivered are prohibited to prevent the listener from mistaking opinion for news. The Broadcaster Code of the Philippines provides the set of standards for performance and ethics to be followed by member radio and television stations, including SMNI. Let me emphasize that the mandate of the Committee on the Legislative Franchises is the granting, amendment, extension, or revocation of legislative franchises. It is authorized to exercise its oversight function to determine whether or not the franchise grantees faithfully comply with the terms and conditions of its franchise. The Suarez Sub Media Corporation under Republic Act number 11422 was granted on August 22, 2019 for 25 years. As there are alleged violations on the franchise grant, the committee is well and within its mandate to look into the matter and can invoke its authority under Section 15 of the law. While free speech and press freedom are constitutional rights, the allocation of TV and radio frequencies is not a guaranteed right. It is subject to the authority of Congress over the grant, amendment, suspension, or revocation of legislative franchises. TV and radio frequencies are part of the national patrimony and are owned by the state. No private entity has any claim or right over TV and radio frequency allocations. This privilege granted by a broadcast to a broadcast entity is subject to the terms of its legislative franchise. In this regard, the franchise of SMNI, Republic Act Number 11422, Section 4 states as one of its terms and conditions, responsibility to the public. The grantee shall conform to the ethics of honest enterprise and not use its stations or facilities for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest. For today's deliberation, the committee invited resource persons from the different government agencies that will assist the committee in considering the issues submitted to its jurisdiction. May I now recognize the authors for the sponsorship speech. We will start with the Honorable Franz Castro, Deputy Minority Leader. You are now recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. I would like to thank the committee for considering our resolutions, the resolutions of Makabayan Bloc, namely Representative Raul Manuel, Representative Arlene Brosas, and myself. In addition to the text of the resolutions, Mr. Chair, may we just put on record the following. First, we filed House Resolution 230 and House Resolution 1428, along with other measures condemning fake news peddling and red tagging of SMNI, which are pending in other committees, Mr. Chair. Fully aware that the powers of Congress must never be used to stifle press freedom and free expression. Back in 2020, we voted for the renewal of the franchise of ABS-CBN and vigorously opposed the denial of its franchise driven by personal vendetta of a president stung by a free press. That is why our resolutions called for accountability of SMNI for its violation of journalistic practices and principles of basic human decency, but only insofar as its accountability under the laws being implemented by the NTC. Our prosecutorial services, the DOJ and the Ombudsman and other agencies of the government. Our proposed legislative measures are in fact part of the greater campaign against disinformation and red tagging, against any use of power and pulpit undermine democratic discourse and the rule of law. It is in that light that we in the Makabayan urge calm and objectivity in these proceedings to bring to light from undisputable evidences the violations of journalistic standard and various laws committed by the SMNI. To the end that we do not cultivate the impression of the people that this House is using its powers to punish an entity given a franchise. There is a free speech, then there is a vile speech. In these deliberations, let us make it so that evidence that SMNI is a purveyor of the latter comes out, and so that the accountability under the law is demonstrated. Be that as may, this representation enumerate the takeaways that we hope for in these proceedings. Number one, Mr. Chair, we hope to stress the wrongness of red tagging and terrorist labeling, which in its essence is disinformation, dissemination. Kung ang isang tao ay nagpapakalat ng chismis, and I quote, si ganito ay ganyan, unquote, pero wala namang patunay na binibigay. Nagpapasapanganib na ito sa reputasyon ng taong binibiktima ng chismis. Di hamak na mas mabigat ang red tagging at terrorist labeling dahil buhay at kaligtasan ang nilalagay sa peligro. Ilang tao na ang nakararanas ng pangre-red tag bago sila naging biktima ng extrajudicial killings, illegal arrest, pagdukot at inkomunikado detention, at iba pang mga human rights violations. This information is false information masquerading as truth or news. Disinformation peddlers like the SMNI and its red taggers and chismismongerers or rumor mongerers masquerade as newscasters, journalists, and commentarists. Number two, through these proceedings, we hope for this committee to secure updates from various agencies and entities like the KBP on the numerous cases that SMNI and its people are facing. Actually, yun ang call ng resolutions namin, Mr. Chair, for NTC to report to Congress kung ano na ang ginagawa sa mga kasong pending sa kanila. Napakarami na to name just one filed by Kadapan, Empeño, and Palabay for airing an interview with convicted kidnapper Palparan without permission from authorities, plus red tagging, plus violation of Fair Election Act and COMELEC Resolution 10730 versus Lenny. Ang mga kasong ito ay dagdag pa sa mga kasong kinakaharap ng anchors, hosts, commentaries, paboritong interviewees ng SMNI sa iba't ibang korte at tribunal gaya ng ombudsman. Nais ng biktima, halimbawa, Mr. Chair, mga church people, health workers, journalists, human rights defenders, authors and poets, academics, na makita kung kailan mapapanagot ang notorious red taggers and fake news peddlers na sina Badoy Partosa at Jeffrey Celis. Kaya magandang isama sa investigasyon ng committee ang DOJ, ang National Prosecution Service ng DOJ, Ombudsman, MTRCB at ibang mga ahensya, pati na rin ang KBP at online platforms gaya ng YouTube at Facebook upang mag-report sila ukol sa mga aksyon nila, kaugnay sa SMNI at mga tauhan nito. So yun lamang po, Mr. Chair, and I'm reserving my right to ask questions from the resource persons later. Muli, maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. For Franz Castro, the next will be the Honorable Raul Manuel, another proponent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would also want to deliver some remarks as author and also to sponsor most especially House Resolution number 1428, which seeks to condemn the fake news peddling, baseless red tagging, and grave threats against our colleague, ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz L. Castro by former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and SMNI. Sir Chair, tayo din, bago tayo maging isang student leader, may mga panahon din naman na tayo ay naging bahagi din ng media sa ating campus. We participated in schools press conferences. Nung high school tayo ay naging bahagi din ng editorial board. Nung kolehiyo naman ay tumulong sa pag-revive at maging operational ulit ang ating student publication sa UP Visayas College of Arts and Sciences. Kaya ganun kahalaga ang pagtingin po ng mga kabataan sa papel ng media sa ating bayan. And with many young journalists who also participate in different levels of the school's press conferences, hindi po magandang ehemplo ang nakikita natin sa forma ng mga ginagawa ng SMNI o itong Sunshine Media Network International. Sa mundo naman natin, natural na merong mga pagkakaiba ng opinyon. Pero sa hulit-huli, Mr. Chair, naniniwala ang kabataan na dapat lahat ng opinyon ay nagmumula sa katotohanan. Kung ano ang realidad, kung ano ang mga facts na meron tayo, yun yung pagmulan ng ating magiging mga gagawing opinyon. Pero kung yung mga opinyon ay hindi nakabatay sa kahit anumang katotohanan at nauuwi lamang sa mga baseless accusations, we must draw the line at dapat ay hindi natin hayaan ito. At tumulo na nga ang ganong naging trend ng mga baseless accusations and even red tagging sa death threat sa ating kapwa mababatas. Mr. Chair, to quote, sabi pa, and I quote, "Gusto kitang patayin, but I want to kill you softly." End of quote. Meron pa, Mr. Chair, kayo, ikaw Franz, kayo mga komunista, ang gusto kong patayin. End of quote. And this is too much. Now, aside from, of course, our colleague who bravely spoke against these threats, nandyan din mismo kinikilala natin ang liderato ng Kamara na kinundin na din ang ganitong mga paratang, and even the international community has been paying attention. These statements and threats were condemned by the ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights and the Governing Council of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. Before I end, Mr. Chair, SMNI, its hosts, and its shows have repeatedly engaged in acts of dissemination of fake news and malicious red tagging. It habitually engages in the reporting as news of misleading claims, deliberately disseminating false information, willful misrepresentation, wild accusations, and red tagging against the opposition, critics, and officials of the government, in violation of the terms of its legislative franchise and to the detriment of public interest. With that, Mr. Chair, we thank the committee for putting this in the agenda of today's committee meeting. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Manuel of the party list Kabataan. The chair now recognizes the Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable David J.J. Suarez. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, members of the Committee on Franchise, and to our resource person. Sa inyo po lahat, magandang hapon po. If I may request, Mr. Chair, that the entirety of my privileged speech serve as my sponsor's speech. But I would just like to request that portions of my speech I discuss before we proceed with today's hearing. If I may proceed, Mr. Chair. Okay. Thank you very much. The gist of my sponsorship of my privilege, actually it's not a privilege speech, but rather I rose on a question of personal and collective privilege. And this happened, I think, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or Tuesday? Tuesday, based on a video that I saw early that day. And in that video, in one of the shows of SMNI, they stated that the House Speaker spent 1.8 billion pesos in traveling. And the conversation continued on and said na baka hindi 1.8 billion pesos lang. Baka humigit pa doon. Baka umabot pa ng 2 bilyon. At dinagdagan pa nung mga nasa panel, paano nyo gagastusin yun? Baka hindi na siya umuwi sa bahay. At bilang isang miyembro ng mababang kapulungan, I found these statements quite offensive with a lot of concern. Because as member of the vice chair, as member and vice chair of the Committee on Appropriations, alam ko po kung magkano ang pondo ng House. At to a certain extent, kabisado ko rin yung mga pinagagastusan natin. At kaagad-agad, dumulog ako sa Finance Department at tinanong ko kung magkano ang traveling expense ng House at ng Speaker. And I was given that figure. And after I found out the real figure, this was enough reason for me to stand up in plenary and deliver my speech. And my speech basically focused on SMNI coming out on national broadcast and stating a lie, fake news, with no disregard whatsoever to truth, to facts, and to fairness. And after that, after I delivered my speech last Tuesday, sinabi ko po nga sa speech ko na kung hihingi ng paumanhin o magre-retract, sana naman magawa nila para naman ma-repair yung damage that has been done. But sad to say, on the following day, another video was sent to me showing the same panelists stating that what they did was right. There was no wrong to the statement that they issued. Na ang ginawa lang daw po nila ay nagtatanong. But any responsible media practitioner, if given an information, would first validate that information before they go out on public. And if I may be allowed to read, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
Text ko ng misis ko. Under the KBP, meron ba tayong taga-KBP dito? Meron. Under the KBP, under Section 5 nakasulat, unconfirmed reports shall not be aired unless there is an immediate and urgent need for the public to know about them, such as when the public needs to be warned of a possibility of imminent danger. When such reports are aired, it must be emphasized that they are unconfirmed. First, was there any imminent danger in the pronouncement made by SMNI about 1.8 billion? May bagyo ba? Lumindol? Meron bang parating na tsunami? Wala naman tayo nabalitaan. And further, it says, they have to emphasize that this report is unconfirmed. Neither did they do that. Neither did they do both. And furthermore, they justify their position by saying, nagtatanong lang po kami. Hindi po kayo nagtatanong. Kung nagtatanong po kayo, di dapat ang ginawa po nila, ito naman po ay position ko, Mr. Chair, pumunta sila sa Congress, tinanong nila dito sa mga tanggapan at opisina kung totoo ba itong report nila. Kaya dahil meron silang natanggap na report na di umano ganito kalaki ang ginastos, at pagkatapos malaman kung ano ba talaga, sa kanila ilabas kung ano yung nilalaman ng kanilang report after they have validated. So, Mr. Chair, I rise on those 2 points. I rise on the point of the truth, and I rise on the point of responsible media practice. You said it yourself in your opening remarks that the franchise given to SMNI is not a right. It's a privilege. Privilege that comes with responsibility. Privilege that comes with rules, norms that they should abide, that they should follow. And I hope this humble representation, through the help of this committee, can properly dissect and analyze and find out whether or not SMNI lived up to those rules, lived up to those norms, and lived up to those standards. Kaya po, Mr. Chair, maraming salamat po. That will serve as my opening remarks to this hearing.
Thank you very much, Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable David J.J. Suarez. Before we continue, the Chair would like to recognize members who just arrived from the first district or second district of Antipolo City, the Honorable Romy Acop. Welcome, sir. And of course, from the 5th district of Quezon City, the Honorable Patrick Michael Vargas. Welcome to the committee hearing. May I ask the committee secretary before we proceed to acknowledge the resource persons who are here in today's hearing. And please raise your hand when your name is read and announced. Comsec.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have invited the following resource persons, and they are resource person, and we have in today's hearing from NTC, Deputy Commissioner Engineer Alvin Blanco. From KBP, we have Attorney Rudolph Hularbal. From COA, Honorable Chairperson Gamaliel Cordova sent Mr. Isaias Reynoso, State Auditor 5. From the MTRCB, the agency is represented by Attorney Ana Mindalano and Bobby Diciembre. From the Movement Against Disinformation, we have Attorney Rico V. Domingo. And from the SMNI, we have here the President, Mr. Marlon Rosete, and he is assisted by their legal counsel, Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Rolex Suplico. That's all, Your Honor. We also have House officials present here, the Honorable Secretary General Reginald S. Velasco and the Deputy Secretary General for Finance Department, Honorable Dante Roberto Maling. Maling po. Apo, sabi ko na. Ito ano? Your Honors, thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we start, I would like to lay the ground rules para clear ho tayo dito sa hearing na to, an orderly meeting. Members will be allowed to interpret the resource persons for 20 minutes per member. We take out the reply, okay? The resource persons are requested to directly answer, straight to the point, the questions raised. Members will be recognized on a first-to-register member manner, and please register with the committee secretary by leaving a message or there's a form that's being passed on. Refrain from asking questions already answered except when seeking clarification. In the event that the member has the floor, has not completed the questions after the 20-minute period, he may avail for the second round when time permits. Otherwise, he will be listed for the ensuing hearings. Members will not be allowed to interrupt an interpretation of another member except when seeking clarification and if related to the question posed by the member interpreter. Observe proper decorum and avoid heated arguments. Always address the chairman in asking questions and giving the answer, and wait to be recognized. Let's abide by these ground rules so that we can do this in a very timely manner. Before I call on the first interpreter, the chair would ask the COMSEC to please administer the oath to all those present in today's hearing. Please rise. COMSEC.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this congressional inquiry? So help you God. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first interpreter would be the Vice Chair of the committee, the Honorable Johnny Pimentel. You're recognized, sir. Silence is requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Chair has already established and the authors the reason why we're conducting this inquiry under House Resolution number 230 and the privileged speech of Congressman J.J. Suarez. This is with regards first and foremost to the bias reports of SMNI regarding the traveling expenses of how the House and also the grave threats against the other congressmen of the House of Representatives. Mr. Chair, actually SMNI is operating under Republic Act number 11422, which was approved on August 2019. However, SMNI is operating actually under Suara Sog Media Corporation, which is the franchise holder. Now, before I begin my interpretation, let us first define what is a franchise as defined by the Supreme Court in ABS 7 Corporation versus National Telecommunications Commission. The court defined a franchise as the privilege granted by the state through its legislative body subject to regulation by the state itself by virtue of its police power through its administrative agencies. In short, Mr. Chair, the franchise grantee has no absolute right over the franchise, as a franchise is a special privilege granted by the state, which the state can also take back when common good so requires. The state through Congress has the exclusive authority to grant franchises for public utilities. Now, under Section 28, Rules of the House of Representatives, the House of Representatives has mandated the Committee on Legislative Franchise to act on matters directly and principally relating to the grant, amendment, extension, or revocation of the franchises. Now, under their franchise, Mr. Chair, there are several provisions, stipulations that must be complied with the franchise holder. Now, let me go to Section 4 of Republic Act number 11422. Section 4, responsibility to the public, meaning this is the responsibility of the franchisee. I will not read anymore the whole text, but the pertinent or the more important provision which I will read. The grantee shall not use its stations or facilities for the broadcasting of obscene or indecent language, speech, act, or sin, or for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest. Now, this committee would like to determine, Mr. Chair, whether the franchisee has not violated Section 4 of Republic Act number 11442. On November 28, in the morning of November 28, as stated by Congressman Suarez, the reason for his privileged speech, there was a show. I'm not well-versed on the show, but accordingly, on reports, there was a show. The two anchors, or how many anchors, alleged that the House, through Speaker Martin Romualdez, spent 1.8 billion pesos in travel expenses. Now, I want to know, Mr. Chair, and I would like to establish, saan po nyo nakuha, I would like to direct my question to SMNI who could answer this. Mas mabuti ho sana, may I know from the COMSEC kung nandito ba yung mga anchor nung show na yon? And let me know what show was that, Mr. Chair. Sino pong sasagot?
Manay?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and the members of this honorable committee. We come here in response to a letter invitation. It's only addressed to Mr. Marlon C. Rosete, President of Suarasug Media Corporation. Attorney Tino and I were engaged to assist the President, Marlon Rosete. We are not engaged to assist the anchors.
Pero, Mr. Chair, may I know kung dito ba yung mga angkor?
They're not here, Your Honor. They were not invited, Your Honor.
Were they invited, Comsec? May I put it on record that during the next hearing, if there is another hearing, that this committee would invite the two anchors? Because I would like to establish whether your allegations of 1.8 billion pesos, kung totoo ba to or is it baseless or unfounded? My first question, ewan ko kung masasagot po ninyo yon to the legal counsels. My first question would be, saan ho nyo nakuha yung source na 1.8 billion pesos?
The President will answer? Who will answer?
Can I answer, Your Honor?
Okay, you're
I'm the legal counsel of SMNI, Your Honor.
you're in-house or retained?
In-house, Your Honor.
Okay, please.
The SMNI would like to invoke the SOTO law, with respect to Republic Act 11458.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would the rules of the committee allow a legal counsel to answer for and on behalf of his principal? Our rule says generally that a legal counsel cannot speak. It should be the principal himself who should speak or answer the questions. Mr. Chair.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm the legal officer of SMNI, so I'm one of, as invited by the committee to talk in behalf of SMNI.
Yes.
So I'm not just a legal counsel, but a legal officer of SMNI.
Yes. That was my question. Because if he was retained, or if he's on a retainer basis, then I would not have allowed you to speak.
Yes, yes.
So,
So me and Attorney Rolex Soplico are legal officers of SMNI.
yes, please proceed.
So,
But Mr. Chair, invoking the SOTO law does not answer my question. That is a totally different matter. Ang tanong ko simple lang po, saan ho nyo nakuha, what was your basis to allege that the Congress spent 1.8 billion pesos? We have to know the source.
Mr. Chair, we were not hired or engaged by the anchor, Eric or Dr. Badoy, but we were legal officers of SMNI. So we are not authorized to answer in behalf of the anchors.
So in short, Mr. Chair, you are not in a position to answer the question.
And second, Mr. Chair, there is a disclaimer of SMNI that any statement made by the anchors are not the official stand of SMNI.
Yes, Mr. Chair, although it might not be your special stand, but still, you are the franchise shareholder and you are responsible for the provisions stated in your franchise. We are talking about Section 4. Now, we are trying to establish whether you are in violation of this section. Now, also, with regards to the Broadcaster Code of the Philippines, news report shall be factual. So, kailangan factual yung report ninyo. Now, aside from that,
Mr. Chair,
news sources, only news that can be attributed to a source shall be aired. So, kung ganon, kung wala kayong source, gawa-gawa lang ho ninyo yun.
Mr.
So in short, Mr. Chair, it is very clear na ginamit lang ng MSNI to have a smear campaign against Congress. Ang dami niyong violations sa Broadcaster Code, yung Section 4. So that is why, Mr. Chair, I insist that this committee should call or invite or require the attendance of the two anchor persons. Ilang bang anchor persons? Anong show ba ito, Mr. Chair?
laban kasama ang bayan.
Laban kasama ang bayan.
Yes.
Ilang anchor person po ito?
There are four. There are four, Mr. Chair.
So, pwede po bang, Mr. Chair, ibigay ninyo yung mga pangalan sa committee secretariat so we can invite them?
And the main, there are 4 anchors, Mr. Chair, but the main anchors, there are 2. Ka Eric Celis and Doc Yusek Lorraine Badoy.
We might as well invite all of them. So, since they are the one anchor persons and according to J.J. Suarez, they served as a panel. So, mayroon pang nagsabi na baka malaking gastos o ganito, ganon. In short, we might as well. Kung imbitahin natin sila, imbitahin na po natin, Mr. Chair. Can we do that?
Yes, we will do that. The committee secretary is directed to invite the anchors in the next hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may just inquire from SMNI, are those 2 anchors, do you air in Manila or are you based in Davao?
No, we're based in Makati.
So those 2 anchors are presently within the vicinity.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So why don't you invite them and come now? Kung nandito lang naman pala sila.
So we try to call them, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Let them come now. I mean, para hindi tayo nag-aaksaya ng oras. Kung nandito lang naman pala sila. Dapat, actually, Mr. Chair, sorry, Pong Johnny, I think you should have been duty-bound to bring them along already. Alam niyo naman na ang pag-uusapan natin dito yung show nila eh. Di sana sinaman niyo na rin sila. Di ba? So, but in any case, please do invite them if they're within the area, just so that we can save time. With the permission of Congressman Pimentel, of course.
Of course. Sila nga ang dapat nandito para silang sumagot. We want to know first the source. Anong pinagbasihan nila na mag-aligasyon sila ng itong 1.8 billion pesos? Anyway, since the anchor persons are not here, to put it in record, we have here the Finance Officer of Congress and we have the Secretary General from Congress. As I've said, the books of Congress are open to everyone, are open to public. So for the record, may I ask the Finance Officer or Secretary General Velasco, magkano ba talaga ang nakalaan sa budget natin for traveling expenses? Mr. Chair?
The Honorable Secretary General Reginald Velasco's recognized.
Well, I have here the financial report on the foreign travel, no? Since foreign travel was the one that was mentioned in that program, number 1, for the office of the speaker, no? These are the staff members of the speaker who accompanies him to in all these foreign trips. The total expenses of the office of the speaker from January to October this year, 2023, is 4,347,712 pesos and 58 centavos. Now, for all the congressmen and the secretariat, no, that this would cover the expenses, travel expenses of House members who are on official trips. The total for the same period, for period covering January to October 2023, is 35,257,411 pesos and 1 centavo. The total for all, no, Office of the Speaker and the House Secretariat and the members of Congress who go on official trip, 39,605,123 pesos and 61 centavos. So these are the financial figures, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
I'll go to the next question. The Finance Committee head is here, Mr. Maling. Do you confirm this?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
These are the right
I do
figures.
confirm what the Secretary has said.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, can I
Yes.
proceed?
Proceed.
So maliwanag po sa lahat, Mr. Chair. The record shows that Congress for the year 2023 has spent only 39 million pesos. Malayong malayo po doon sa alegasyon ng SMNI that Congress has spent 1.8 billion pesos. Now let me read again so that the SMNI officers will be enlightened. Responsibility to the public, Section 4 of your franchise, of your Republic Act. The grantee shall not use its stations for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation. So very clear po dito, bawal po sa prangkisa ninyo na magsabi sa publiko ng mga maling reports or deliberately false information. Now, Mr. Chair, my question is to the SMNI, why should you not be held liable when it is very clear that you have violated Section 4 of your franchise? Ano ang rason na may bibigay nyo sa amin na hindi kayo dapat patulan o hatulan ng violation against your franchise? Very clear ho. Ang aligasyon ho ng SMNI, 1.8 billion pesos ang ginastos ng Kongreso sa traveling expenses. It is on record, and if you want that we can furnish you the records, nanditong finance officer, nandito secretary, ang ginastos until October was only 39 million pesos. So it would be impossible na magkakaroon po ng gastos ng 1.8 billion pesos dahil yung budget for traveling expenses hindi nga umabot dun sa sinasabi niyong 1.8 billion pesos. Why should you not be held liable for this Section 4 responsibility to the public, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, can I answer it, Mr. Chair?
Attorney Tolentino is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, Mr. Chair, there was no allegations about the 1.8 billion pesos, Mr. Chair. It was just a question given not in behalf of SMNI, but it is a statement by an anchor of SMNI. And there is a disclaimer in every program of SMNI that any statement made by the anchor guest is not the official stand of SMNI. Second, Mr. Chair, there was no deliberate false information. I'd like to invoke, Mr. Chair, the jurisprudence of the Philippine Supreme Court about freedom of press and freedom of expression. It is part of our constitutional and republican principle, Mr. Chair, as a country and as a republic, that there is a jurisprudence that freedom of press and freedom of expression includes some, what they call this, false or inaccurate statement, if there's any inaccurate statement. Freedom of press and the freedom of expression is one of the highest form of constitutional right in our Philippine Constitution. That's why there was no deliberate false accusation. And third, Mr. Chair, in every act provided under the Civil Code, there is a presumption of good faith. So the one who alleges bad faith on the part of SMNI, the one who alleges that there is violation of Republic Act 11422 should be the one to prove it, because we are presumed innocent, we are presumed doing within the bounds of the law. And humbly, Mr. Chair, what we are doing here, we acted in good faith. Humbly, we acted in good faith, and there was no statement, official statement given by SMNI. And ang ginagawa po natin ngayon, Mr. Chair, gumagawa po kami ng investigation, internal investigation, kung may nangyari ba talagang statement about the 1.8 billion. Because based on our initial investigation, there was none. It was just a question. That's why, Mr. Chair, if I may, we'd like to ask that the video, the subject video, we have here a USB to be played. So anybody will be, everyone, may chance na makita nila kung ano ba talaga ang video na yan. May nakalagay bang statement or it was just a question in the exercise of freedom of press?
Mr. Chair, may I comment on the statement of attorney? You mentioned about freedom of expression. While it is true that the Constitution guarantees the freedom of expression and speech is constitutionally protected, there are species of speech and expression that are not constitutionally protected. Among these are obscenity, pornography, hate speech, defamatory speech, libelous marks, and fighting words. It is important to note that the recent broadcast by SMNI against Congress, against particular groups and individuals, and recently against the speaker's travel expenditure do not fall under the ambit of the constitutionally protected expression. Very clear po yan, na smear campaign yan, Mr. Chair. But anyway, let us go to another section of your franchise. This is with regards to Section 12. Reportorial requirement. During the term of its franchise, the grantee shall submit an annual report to the Congress of the Philippines through the Committee on Legislative Franchises of the House of Representatives and the Committee on Public Services on its compliance with the terms and conditions of the franchise. Ito po ang mga dokumento na kailangan i-submit ninyo. Your franchise was granted in 2019, so you must submit it in 2020, 21, 22, 23. The annual report shall include an update on the rollout, development, operation, or expansion of business, audited financial statements, latest general information sheet, officially submitted to Securities and Exchange Commission, certificate of the NTC on the status of its permits and operations, and an update on the dispersal of ownership undertaking if applicable. Now, Mr. Chair, may I know from the Secretariat whether they have complied with the annual reportorial requirement? Marami yung dokumento ito. So gusto ko po malaman kung nasubmit po ng SMNI lahat ng dokumento na ito.
Please reply, Comsec.
Open mo.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
while we're waiting, let's just put it in proper context. Yung 1.8 billion, ang statement ng SMNI, hindi po yun sa entire house. Yung 1.8 billion, sa speaker lang yun. Hindi mo sinabi, hindi nila.
If I may, Mr. Chair, we deny that there's a statement. It was just a question na answerable by yes or no.
Oo nga. Well, I'll have my time with you later, don't worry.
I need it now.
But let's just put it on record, no, just so that we can put things in its proper perspective. You know, it's not the House, it was the peace speaker that they mentioned.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, that could be another matter, but may I know the answer of the committee secretariat regarding my question on the reportorial requirements? Because this is a responsible of SMNI in accordance with their franchise on Section 12.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, before who's asking, who's requesting to be recognized? Okay, somebody.
Mr. Chair, Attorney Suplico, Mr. Chair, our
Yes.
staff has informed us that we have submitted the yearly requirements, but I will ask her to bring it to the committee secretary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, may I know kung anong year po yun? Kasi you are required to submit every year. Starting 2020. Na-approve yung prangkisa ninyo August 2019. So dapat
Yearly,
starting 2020, 21, 22, 23, nagsubmit po kayo dito ng reportorial requirements.
yearly, Your Honor, since 2020. But I will ask our staff to bring our
Yes.
documents to the committee secretary.
Was it
for
duly
them to submit.
received by Congress, yung sinabit ho ninyo? Iba ho yung, kasi we had a hearing sa Meralco, we have to reconcile, kasi sabi ng Meralco, nag-submit sila for 20 years, but upon verification, ang nasubmit lang nila, duly submitted, duly received by Congress, 7 years lang. So, iba ho yung sinasabi yung nag-submit kayo, iba rin yung duly received by Congress.
Comsec, do you have the records?
Your Honors, we have, since the pandemic set in, we allowed franchise grantee to submit their annual reports via online through the email of the Committee on Legislative Franchises. The Swarasug Media Corporation, based on our record, submitted their annual reports for the year 2023, 2022, 2021, and 2020, and it includes the latest audited financial statement, the latest general information sheet, certification on good standing issued by the SEC. We also have the certification from the National Telecommunication Commission on due submission by the franchise grantee, a report on dispersal of ownership, and a report and update on the rollout expansion of the business, Your Honors.
Okay, that sets it clear, Mr. Chair. So that means everything is in order. Punta ko tayo dun sa Section 10 of your franchise. Sale, lease, transfer, grant of usufruct, or assignment of franchise. Now, we know that the franchise was granted to Swarasug, but actually, ang nag-operate ng TV station is SMNI. Can you tell me if SMNI is a corporation?
Can I answer that, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Swarasug, what do you call this? Swarasug Media Corporation is the grantee of the franchise. But Swarasug Media Corporation is registered in the Security and Exchange Commission as Swarasug Media Corporation under the name and style, doing business under the name and style of SMNI, call this, Sunshine Media Network, International, SMNI News Channel, Sunshine TV, Sunshine Radio, and in fact, Mr. Chair, SMNI is actually registered also as a trademark under IPO. So,
Mr. Chair, Attorney, you have not answered my question. Ang tanong ko po kung ang SMNI ba is duly registered corporation sa SEC.
I answered the question, Mr. Chair. SMNI is not a corporation. It is a business name owned by Swarasug Media Corporation. Business name registered under Intellectual Property Office, and Swarasug Media Corporation is operating and doing business under the name and style of SMNI. So SMNI is a trademark or a trade name, but the name of the entity is Swarasug Media Corporation.
Mr. Chair, I just want to verify whether this does not violate Section 10, no? Assignment of franchise. Kasi nakalagay po dito, the grantee, I will not read the other portions, shall not transfer or assign the assignment of franchise or the rights of privileges acquired thereafter. So, in short, Mr. Chair, tinatanong po natin sa SMNI kung hindi ba ninyo inassign ang franchise sa SMNI ng Swarasug?
Mr. Chair, there was no sale, lease, transfer, or grant of usufruct to another entity. As what I've said, Mr. Chair, SMNI has no juridical personality. It is not a corporation, but it is a trademark or trade name under Suara Sug Media Corporation.
Pero bakit hindi nyo ginamit, Mr. Chair, yung Suara Sug? Why use SMNI?
It's hard to pronounce Suara Sug. So that's why we changed our trademark. We're still operating under Suara Sug Media Corporation. But doing business, we use as a trademark or trade name SMNI.
Anyway, Mr. Chair, ang gusto ko talaga tanungin yung mga anchor persons ninyo. So therefore, I will reserve my next questions if ever the anchor... Tinawagan nyo po ba yung mga anchor persons?
They're on the way, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll reserve my next questions dun sa mga anchor persons, Mr. Chair.
Before we proceed, the chair recognizes the Senior Deputy Speaker, Aurelio Dong Gonzales of the 3rd District of Pampanga. Welcome, sir, to the hearing of the Committee on Legislative Franchise.
Seconds. Usman Manuel.
Okay. The Honorable Manuel is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I proceed to my questions, gusto ko lang din pong magkomento dun sa binanggit na dahil may disclaimer naman ang show or ang network at gustong i-detach yung network dun sa sinasabi ng mga hosts. Tingin po natin hindi obra ko all the time yun yung i-invoke. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, wala na tayong mapapanagot pag ganun. Ibig sabihin, kahit sino pa pala yung magsalita dyan na co-trend na kasinungalingan ang mga sinasabi sa network, hindi pa rin mapapanagot ang network kung yung disclaimer yung gagamitin bilang shield dun sa mga maling pinapakalat. Now, Mr. Chair, I would like to address my questions to KBP. So I'd like to clarify, Mr. Chair, lahat ba ng mga media networks are bound by the Journalistic Code of Ethics?
Insofar as the Code of Ethics of KBP is concerned, it applies only to KBP members, Your Honor.
So is SMNI a member of the KBP?
Suara Sug is a member of the KBP, Your Honor.
So in effect, ibig sabihin dapat ang mga pinapalabas din ng SMNI should be covered by this code.
Yes, Your Honors.
Now, Mr. Chair, sa Broadcast Code of the Philippines, ano po ang nababanggit doon regarding fairness and objectivity in programming? Ano po ang pamantayan na dapat sundin ng mga miyembro ng KBP kasama ang Suara Sug and in effect SMNI?
That news should always be fair and accurate and objective, Your Honors.
So far po ba sa pagtingin ng KBP ay meron bang nalalabag doon ang Suara Sug at ang SMNI?
Your Honors, I am devoid of sufficient information to conclude on that. But if the statements as contained in the House resolution are indeed true, there's a possibility of violation of the KBP code.
Mr. Chair, kasunod na tanong po natin, dahil repeatedly flagged na rin ang SMNI many times, no? At ngayon lalo lang na nag-intensify na kahit ang ating August body ay hindi na rin pinapalampas. Of course, while we are subject to scrutiny sa lahat ng ginagawa natin, pero again, dapat nakabatay sa facts at vine-verify ang mga pinapublish at pinapalabas. Kaya when it comes to analysis and commentary, ano naman po ang nakasaad sa code ng KBP?
Again, in terms of analysis or commentary, fairness is the key to such commentaries or analysis.
With that, Mr. Chair, I'd like to address my next question to the movement against disinformation. May representative po ba? Mr. Chair.
Attorney Domingo.
Yes. Aside from the contents of the resolutions and for example, ang binanggit tungkol sa budget ng House and ang naging mga threats din sa ating kapwa mambabatas, ano pa yung ilan sa mga examples na na-observe ng inyong organization regarding the type of reporting or what's being released by SMNI?
Thank you for the question. Mr. Chair, can I answer the question? First of all, let me just quickly tell you what the MAD is, no? The Movement Against Disinformation. We are a non-partisan aggregation of professors, historians, and other professionals in civic society who are championing the cause of against disinformation. That's why we are very active in this particular area of advocacy. And in fact, to answer the congressman's question, in fact, we actually have a pending case with the NPC concerning the Alliance of Health Workers and the case of Empeño and Kadapan. And that was mentioned in the one of the preambular clauses of the resolutions. And we have a pending case with the NTC, precisely the question on violation of Section 4 that the good congressman earlier had mentioned. So these are all pending. In fact, if I may even amplify my answer, Mr. Congressman.
Please proceed.
In relation to the false imputations focused on the speaker, what we are also very concerned about would be the disinformation and the red tagging that the SMNI had been welcoming in its broadcast. You remember the red tagging that had been done by the former USEC against a judge who issued a resolution on the prescription, an adverse resolution in prescription, and called the judge an imbecile, and called the judge coming from the bowel of falsehood or something, and red tagged the judge, a sitting judge who made an adverse decision against the cause of that particular USEC secretary. That's the kind of SMNI exposure or broadcast that had been peddling around. And we have other litany, and as mentioned in the preambular clauses of the resolutions, these are all true because we have already filed actual cases against SMNI on this. And we cannot deny that anymore. This would be a litany of acts that the SMNI had been guilty of having broadcasted on air. And just to close my answer, there will be no stopping SMNI from proceeding with its vicious lies and going back. It just targeted the fourth highest position or highest leader of the land. It already targeted the independence of the judiciary. What will stop SMNI from hitting even the most powerful and the most senior of our government officials? That would be the imminent danger, Mr. Chair. If this many acts that are attributed to the SMNI are countenanced and not held liable for, then everything can just be done with impunity. And they will say, for the sake of press freedom, for the sake of the constitutional right, as correctly said by Congressman Pimentel, these are unprotectable speeches. I teach media law at the Ateneo Law School. These are unprotected speeches, and these cannot be countenanced by the honorable congressmen. And I applaud, the man applauds the Congress for initiating this investigation, because it is about time that the Congress should wield its power over the grant of franchises to monitor and hold accountable all the franchisees that it had granted.
Thank you for that response, Mr. Chair.
Congressman Manuel, if I just may interject, the good gentleman mentioned that they filed numerous cases. Can the committee, Mr. Chair, get hold of copies of those cases that they have filed?
Very well,
Please
Mr.
submit those documents. But Attorney Domingo,
Yes.
you're a professor of remedial law.
Media law.
Media law. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
And
media law
for
ethics.
what school?
Ateneo Law
Ateneo.
School.
Okay.
But I'm a graduate of the UP College of Law.
Okay. Thank you very much, Attorney Domingo.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The Honorable.
to proceed, Mr. Chair, I'd like to raise my last few questions to give way also to our other colleagues. Again, to the KBP. Given na may mga ganito pong nababanggit, ano naman ang mechanisms ng KBP with regard to its members? At least maybe to advise, kung kaya pang mag-guide, to guide them, or at worst cases to like tap or warn members who might have done violations of the codes that pertain to how journalists should act and do their responsibilities.
Your Honor, first of all, maybe clarify the structure. KBP's members are not the anchors or the reporters. KBP members consist of the networks that are franchise grantees. The news and public affairs people in the station are members in the sense that they are attached to a member network. What we do is first, we accredit the persons who go on the air in a network station, and they are given lectures on the code of ethics and required to take an examen to pass it. That is how we hold these anchors and staff of member networks accountable, because if they are found to be in violation, then we withdraw their accreditation. By the way, earlier, on the question on is Suarezug accountable, we make a distinction on the accountability of the anchors, the newscasters, etc., and the accountability of the network. Generally, if the network fails in its duty to give proper advice or reprimand or conduct investigation on violations of its anchor people, news people, then it can be held accountable. But primarily, we hold the on-the-air personality responsible for what they say on the air. There is a standards authority in the KBP, which is quote-unquote the courts of the KBP. They consist of 4 divisions of 4 members each. And their task is to try cases involving cases brought before KBP for violation of the KBP Code of Ethics. So if a complaint is filed before the KBP for an alleged violation of the code, then this is referred to the Standards Authority. While the Standards Authority takes cognizance of the case, there is an internal procedure, by the way, Your Honors, where if the case is already pending before another body, government body, the Standards Authority suspends hearing and gives deference to the courts or the investigating body. So that's the mechanism, Your Honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sa ngayon po, I'm done with my initial questions and
Second round.
yeah, I can listen to how this deliberation will proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I proceed, before I ask the next interpreter, I just would like to, the Attorney Suplico was raising his hand, and I'd like to acknowledge you.
Yes, Your
Baka
Honor.
sabihin mo hindi kita na.
It's okay, Your Honor.
I could not because he had the floor. I could not acknowledge you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I will.
Okay, Your Honor. Your Honor, there is the network cannot tell the anchors what to say, what questions to ask. I just wanted to point out
Okay.
that we cannot dictate on our anchors what questions to ask, how to ask it, when to ask it. In the same manner, if there are guests there, we cannot also tell the guests to answer this way or that way. They exercise a certain degree of independence. So thank you very much, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I be recognized,
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
I have a question. Who's raising his hand? Who's... Yes, attorney. Sige, bago
Mr. Chair,
ako magtanong.
I'd like to respond sana sa statement ni Professor ng Media Law with respect sa mga pending cases ng SMNI. According to the rules, Your Honor, and Mr. Chair, and in fact, under the jurisprudence, allegation is not equivalent to guilt. Yes, maybe there are pending cases, but it doesn't mean SMNI is guilty of all those cases or already violated all the allegations made by the complainant. So it's not yet final, it's not yet executory. It's still pending with the NTC. In fact, may isang kaso ang SMNI with MTRCB na na-dismiss na. So, ibig sabihin po, not because there's a case pending, hindi ibig sabihin guilty na ang SMNI. Second, not because SMNI made opinions against the speaker, hindi naman ibig sabihin na function talaga ng SMNI to destroy the reputation of every person. Ang SMNI, ginagawa nila yan in the exercise of freedom of press and freedom of expression. Citing the Supreme Court jurisprudence, public officials should not be onion skin. In fact, public officials should be subject to public consumption, public criticism on matters of public concern. Lalo na yung ginagawa ng SMNI, kung may SMNI man na ginagawa, which we believe wala, kasi hindi naman official na act yung ginagawa ni Ka Eric. Yung statement ng SMNI is just a statement. It's not a statement. It is just a question answerable by yes or no. In fact, my definition po ng law on libel, if you read the law on libel under the Revised Penal Code, nakalagay po doon, allegation of a discreditable act or condition.
Mr. Chair, point of order. Are we here to be lectured upon by the good lawyer, or are we supposed to conduct a hearing? Because I reserved my Thursday afternoon to conduct a committee hearing on franchise, not to be lectured on matters that I already know. I don't know if the same sentiment is felt by the members of the Committee on Franchise.
With due respect, Mr. Chair, hindi po tayo nag-lecture po dito po, but respond sa statement ng isang resource person.
Sige.
So, I'd like to apologize if it is considered as a lecture.
Yes. I would like to acknowledge the person that you referred to, the Attorney Domingo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I never said there was any conviction. I never said there was an executory decision. I just mentioned that we filed cases against SMNI, precisely the sections 4 violation that we alleged in the complaint. So
That was
just for the
clear.
record, we
Yes.
never said that they are already executory decisions. We never said that, Your Honors.
Yeah, that was clear. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may we know anong mga kaso yung mga pinali nyo at ilang kaso yung pinali?
They are going to give us copies, right?
Gladly, Your Honor. One is against the SMNI concerning the empeño and kidnapan, the interview
Anong,
of General
ano nyo,
Alpara.
anong case nga? Libel, great threats, or
This is a cancellation of the franchise of
cancellation of the franchise?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Can you please give us all
Yes,
those
Your Honor.
cases?
We also have one,
So, ilang pong kaso yan? Para klaro po tayo.
mga 5 po.
5 kaso.
Opo.
Na final nyo po sa NTC
Hindi lang sa NTC, sa courts po, at saka sa fiscal.
for the cancellation of the franchise of SMNI.
Opo.
Thank you very much, Attorney Domingo. I think that's clear that there were not, he never said that. Because for the record, I even asked the committee secretary and sabi niya, hindi naman niya sinabing they were convicted, no? Anyway, may tanong
Mr.
ako
Chair,
before I go.
can we request Attorney Domingo to submit the file of the cases before the next hearing?
Yes, he has promised.
Just to be clear, very clear, Your Honor, we have one case in the NTC against SMNI, just
Okay.
one.
And
And others are collateral cases, but not in the not in the NTC, but in the fiscal as well as in the court of law. All of them we will give you, Your Honor.
so yan ay
Yeah.
may katanungan ako. Bilang po chairman ng franchise committee, dahil marami po kong hinihear din ng mga renewal ng mga franchises. And medyo nababahala po ko doon sa posisyon ng SMNI na meron po kayong disclaimer, ergo, hindi kayo liable. Question, is it legally valid?
Yes, Your Honor, it is legally valid as long as
Okay, yes or no lang, yun lang po. Yes, it is yan position. Section 4 of the legislative franchise makes it the responsibility of the grantee, not the anchor, not anyone else, not the TV show, not the kung yan yung black time, it is the grantee. That is very clear in section 4. The responsibility of the grantee of the franchise over the dissemination of false information. This is an undertaking of the grantee that cannot be ignored. Actions of the TV anchors and under the supervision of the grantee, any disclaimer can just excuse any violation of the terms and conditions. Do you think it is correct?
that's why, Mr.
No, no.
Chair,
Yes or no lang po?
correct, but can I explain my answer, Mr.
No,
Chair?
we already heard what your position is. Your position is there is a disclaimer. Okay? So now I've said, and it's very clear na pag yan ho lagi ang ginamit natin, ano po ang saysay ng Section 4?
Yes.
Which is what a privilege granted by Congress. And this is a very clear section, and this was cited by the Honorable Manuel and also by the Honorable Johnny Pimentel. So I don't think, because in the future, that's why my question was, is it legally valid? Because there is Section 4 in the franchise agreement and the franchise approval of that privilege to air on channel 40.
Our stand, Your
Yes,
Honor,
sir.
our stand, Mr. Chair, it's legally valid.
In spite of my explanation.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying that Section 4 is that should now read not only the grantee but even the anchors, etc., etc., etc. Because it's very clear that the Section 4 is holding the grantee responsible for anything that is aired on their television, on their channel.
That's why we are doing, Mr. Chair, an internal investigation. That's why we have if there is violation of our policies, Mr. Chair, we will act accordingly
But you know, if you say that there's a disclaimer and you're going to use that sa Committee on Franchise, eh di, ba't yung pa kailangan mag-imbestiga? Eh, hindi nyo mga kasalanan talaga yan eh. I mean, that's the position that you're putting forth before this committee today. And we're saying that, you know, na hindi po because meron po tayong Section 4.
Still, Mr. Chair, we stand that the disclaimer is valid and until a court of law declare it as illegal, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so you're saying that, okay, so now we will go on Section 4 later on because when my turn comes, because I'm really saying that medyo dito ho, eh klaro naman na grantee ang may responsibilidad. Hindi po,
Yeah.
and you know, if you're going to hide on a disclaimer, how can you do that when we never authorized you? You cannot do that. Diba? I mean, you do not have the, because you're responsible for anything that's aired there. And this information, okay, like an accusation of 1.8 billion when it's been stated, all you had to do was, you know, I mean, yun ang kung pinoprotektahan natin eh. Pinoprotektahan natin yung credibility din eh. Na lahat ng binibigyan natin ng prangkisa. Pinoprotektahan po natin para tunay na maniwala ang ating mga mamayan. Eh kung ganyan po mangyari, tapos magkatago po tayo sa disclaimer, eh sandali, pag-usapan po natin lahat ng prangkisang inaaprobahan ng Kongreso na yun. At kasama na po dyan ang SMNI. Yeah, and I would ask KBP, do you agree that they can hide on a disclaimer?
Subject to certain qualifications, I don't agree, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we proceed. The Honorable Manuel, I'll give you,
Yeah.
kasi you also mentioned that earlier, I will give you, then we'll go to the Honorable Suarez. The Honorable Manuel.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, short na lang din dahil ang ini-insist po ng SMNI kasi wala silang collective na responsibility dito dahil sa disclaimer, it's about the anchor. Pero kung i-observe din natin na Mr. Chair, sino po ba ang may-ari ng SMNI? Gusto ko lang i-lay down yung fact, no? It is owned by Apollo Quiboloy na actually kung sa mga
Can we confirm that statement, Mr. Chair? SMNI?
That's owned by, no?
I'm sorry,
SMNI is not owned by Pastor Apollo Siki Buloy.
does he hold any position there?
No, he's not part of the corporate officers.
No, he doesn't have any position. Like, he can be like
He's just a black timer, Mr. Chair.
he's a black timer.
He's a black timer of SMNI.
That's it. Wala siya iba. Hindi po siya ibang, hindi siya regular.
We consider him as an honorary chairman.
Yun.
Yes, honorary chairman, but he's not part of as one of the corporate officers. His name is not part of the corporate papers. He's not a stockholder of SMNI
Okay.
or Suarasu Media Corporation.
Okay. Can we,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, we can go back there to that issue later on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay. Ngayon,
May ano pa pala.
Yeah.
Gusto ko lang
May pahabol.
i-state, Mr. Chair, kasi well, ito din naman ay matter of public record na may mataas na katungkulan, ganyan, na at least na-confirm natin ngayon. And mismo lumalabas ang taong ito at nag-deliver talaga ng mga statements mismo sa iba't ibang mga programs. Kaya factor po ito at hindi natin atomize lang ang mga nasa SMNI. Ibig sabihin, kailangan din i-weigh natin ang ginagawa ng individuals in relation sa paano din ba gumagana talaga yung network. Yan lang, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Manuel. Napag-usapan na rin po natin yung question ni Honorable Manuel tungkol kay Pastor Kibuloy at yun naman ay sinabi niyo na siya ay honorary chairman. Ito po ay found yun. This SMNI was founded in 1987.
I think the president.
See.
Suara Su Media Corporation, Mr. Chair, was founded in 1987.
Correct.
Yes.
As a legal operating name.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And the products broadcasting service includes TV, radio, streamlining, and new media. Key products include SMNI, SMNI News Channel, and Sunshine Radio, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And this is owned by the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, correct?
Not necessarily, Mr. Chair.
No. Yes or no?
No.
No.
No, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying that the articles of incorporation is wrong?
We have here an updated articles of incorporation, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
By the way, Mr. Chair, the original Suara Su Media Corporation was founded in 1992, but now under the new name, under the present So, the Suara Su Media Corporations, Mr. Chair, the officers are, can I name the officers, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Cristina San Pedro,
Saan po base yan, yung listahan?
SEC, Mr. Chair, GIS, Marlon Rosete, Lodi B. Ayang, Loris Nepomuceno, Hannah Jane Sancho, Ghislaine R. Ramos, Ananya P. Reyes, Mr. Chair. And the stockholders are the following, Mr. Chair. With 19%, Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, 19%. 13%, Marlon Rosete. 46.22%, Phoebus Capital Holdings Incorporated. 53.46%, the Executive Pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name incorporated. And 0% with 1 share, Hannah Jane Sancho.
Are you done?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, so you're now saying that this
92, Mr. Chair.
92, year 1992. Okay. So we'll double check that. Can you please submit us those documents to the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Those amended documents. Okay, I will go back again to SMNI on my second round. Okay.
Yes,
The chair would like to recognize the Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just my questions to Attorney Mark Tolentino. Attorney Mark,
Yes, sir.
you look very familiar to me.
Uh,
Did you used to work for government?
yes, Mr. Chair.
What position did you hold?
I used to be a municipal councilor of my hometown. Second,
Which is?
Kapatbaran City, Agusan del Norte. Then second, as State Solicitor of the Office of the Solicitor General. Then third, Assistant Secretary of the DOTR.
Assistant Secretary of the DOTR.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I think, what year was that?
2017, Mr. Chair.
Up to?
2018.
So you only held that position for 1 year.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Why so short?
Of course, there was a political issues at the time, Mr. Chair, that I don't know what really the answer the reason, Mr. Chair.
You don't have any idea why? Did you resign? Were you fired? What was the
I
reason?
was terminated, Mr. Chair.
Oh, you were taken out of your job?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And the reason for your termination was?
I have no personal knowledge about the reason, Mr. Chair.
So,
In fact, I consider it as an expiration of my term because my position is based on trust and confidence of the President.
okay. So you felt, so the president may have lost trust and confidence on
Yes,
you?
yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Your termination had nothing to do with your involvement with Wirecard?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, but do you know of Wirecard?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but the case is already dismissed, Mr. Chair.
Dismissed.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us about this Wirecard involvement in case that your name was and your person was involved in?
They said that I am a trustee of that company, when in fact I'm not.
And Wirecard was found. Why was a case filed against Wirecard?
I think that case is pending in Germany, Mr. Chair. Not
Okay.
here.
And what is it about?
It's about the online banking in Germany, Mr. Chair. And they said that I am a trustee of that company. In fact, I am not.
You are not. So how did your name be prop up and be connected to Wirecard?
Because the COO of Wirecard visited my office at that time. That's all I remember because I cannot invoke in details because there is a attorney-client privilege, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Because here I'm just going through some news articles and your name keeps on propping up in relation to the controversy of Wirecard.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, and this has nothing to do with your termination as a DOTR
Ano, Mr.
official. Walang kinalaman. What about dealing with your sister? Kasi nakasulat dito sa Rappler Duterte files DOTR official for allegedly dealing with his sister.
It's not true, Mr. Chair.
This is not true also.
There's a misunderstanding only, Mr. Chair.
It's a misunderstanding. Just maybe a question.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
A statement
Yes, yes.
similar to what you just said.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So anyway, let's go back to that statement that you said. So earlier you mentioned that the 1.8 billion was a question. Correct?
Based on my opinion, based when I saw the video, Mr. Chair, because
Okay.
I was not there during the
No,
live coverage.
Yeah, but the mere fact that you're owning up to it as an SMNI official, you're stating that it's a question.
Because it's a question, Mr. Chair.
No, yes, but you're stating
That's
it's for a
why,
fact that
Mr.
it's a question.
Chair.
That's my question. Just yes or no.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, okay, great.
Can I
Because the reason
explain
why
here?
I wanted to stress that point is because number one, you're owning up to it as an SMNI official. Okay. Number two, you mentioned that it is a question, so therefore there was no malicious intent with regards to the statement issued by your block timers, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So why was the tweet deleted in social media?
Mr. Chair.
Why was it deleted in social media?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair, because I am
No,
not
but you're the legal counsel for SMNI. We were trying
we can give the link to the Honorable Committee, Mr. Chair.
we were trying to get the link, and then I don't know.
May I know the number, Mr. Chair, that wherein we can send the link of the video, Mr. Chair? Ano?
Ayan nakasulat to. This post has been deleted.
Mr. Chair, the SMNI Facebook page was
Fake news, what did you say?
Facebook page.
Okay.
Facebook page was taken down.
No. This is in Twitter. Twitter to, hindi to Facebook.
The video of Twitter is connected with the Facebook, Mr. Chair. But there is a YouTube link.
Okay. So hindi kayo nagtanggal nito?
No, Mr. Chair.
Kasi nung nag-link naman ako, dumiretso ako dun sa Twitter account niyo, hinahanap ko dun, wala rin naman dun.
It's there in the YouTube, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying it was you that took it down.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
It was Facebook that took it down.
The whole page, not just the video, Mr. Chair.
So, do you have any evidence that would say that Facebook took those pages down, or maybe just supposed to take your statement as hook, line, and sinker?
We can submit that to the Honorable Committee, the email of Facebook, Mr. Chair.
Okay, sige, fantastic. Kasi it seems like it's not the first time that tweets have been and posts have been removed from the SMNI network and for social media pages, especially when legal questions are involved. No, let me just go back. So you mentioned that the show of Ka Eric and Dr. Badoy, is that correct?
Yes, Dr. Badoy,
Yeah.
former USEC, Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
okay. Naka-black time sila. Anong arrangement nyo sa show nila?
Co-prod, Mr. Chair.
Ha?
Co-prod. Co-production.
Co-production. So therefore, they are employees of SMNI?
Talents, Mr. Chair.
Talents.
Employees.
Okay, talents. So, would you care to share to this committee, as talents, how much are they receiving?
I think, 100,000 a month, Mr. Chair.
100,000. And do you have a contract with your talents?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we can submit that to the Honorable Committee.
Do you have a copy of those contracts with you now?
Can we submit that, Mr. Chair? Still in our office, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, may I request that we subpoena the said documents? Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
That those documents be submitted immediately before the next hearing.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So what you're saying is they're paid talents.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And at the same time as paid talents, the show that, ano bang pangalan ng show nila?
Laban kasama ang bayan.
Laban kasama ang bayan.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Doon sa laban kasama ng bayan,
Kasama ang bayan.
kaninong bayan?
Pilipinas, Mr.
Bayan, okay. Laban kasama ng bayan. You are familiar with the show?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And you watch it regularly, I assume?
Maybe once a week or twice a week.
Okay. So,
But not every day, Mr. Chair.
yes. It's shown every day. Is it shown every day?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, if you're familiar with the show, you can more or less gauge the theme and the rapport by which these anchors conduct themselves in their broadcasts.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And you will agree that on certain cases, they may have exceeded the bounds provided by law when it comes to the KBP Code of Ethics. Would you agree with me?
That's why, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask what is that Code of Ethics of KBP and the Broadcast Code?
So what you're saying is you're not familiar with the broadcast code.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I don't know if it is a law or just a code from...
So wait, okay. Now, so you're a media entity. You have paid block timers, paid talents that you actually just mentioned receive 100,000 pesos monthly, and yet you're not familiar with the Code of Ethics by KBP?
I am not an expert of that, Mr. Chair. Maybe my co-counsel can answer that, Mr. Chair.
Because I would assume, as a media entity, your paid talents, especially those in the news segment, would not only understand, but would hold close to their heart the Code of Ethics of the kapisanan ng mga broadcasters ng Pilipinas. Kasi ito ang dapat na sinusunod nilang alituntunin sa pagbalalabas ng balita.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And it's shocking that you as legal counsel just mentioned that you're not familiar. So anyway, Congressman Rolex Suplico, Attorney Rolex Suplico,
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
kasi sabi po ni Attorney Mark, baka yung ibang kasamahan niya makatulong, di baka may tutulong kayo?
Well, Your Honor, these are talents. And talents are, beforehand, they are required to follow a certain set of standards, including the Broadcast Code of the Philippines 2007. Sometimes, maybe they stray out of it, no? They violate it. But again, let me say, Your Honor, the grantee of the franchise, Suarasog, I'm gonna tell them what to say, what to ask, when to ask, how to ask. They enjoy a certain independence from us.
Well, I would understand that they would enjoy a certain independence from you, but I would also believe that you should have a level of control over the substance being broadcasted by your talents. Because if you're saying that they're totally independent, what if the material that they're showing is in violation of your franchise? At sasabihin nyo, sorry, independent sila sa amin. Wala kaming magagawa. Paano kung lumalabag na sila sa mga nilalaman ng mga sections ng prangkisa ninyo? Sasabihin nyo, wala kaming magagawa. Eh kayo po ang malalagay sa alanganin yan. Kung sasabihin nyo, wala kayong magagawa.
Your Honor, actually, we started a internal investigation. And by the way, they're on their way here, Your Honor, in compliance with the request of the chairman.
Okay. Anyway, so I'll just go to KPP. KPP, just a few questions. Yung pong mga broadcasters, may license po ba sila na dapat hawak-hawak bago po sila mag-broadcast? Ano po ba ang patakaran ng KBP dito?
Your Honor, it's not a license. We accredit them in the sense that we require them to take an examination basically on the KBP Code of Ethics and pass it. And they are only accredited once they pass this KBP examination, so that they are held responsible for what they say on the air.
Thank you very much, Attorney. Attorney, to your knowledge, yung mga segment hosts, are they KBP accredited?
I have no information on that, Your Honor.
What about SMNI? Can you inform us if they are KBP accredited?
No, Mr. Chair, only the Suarasug Media Corporation, Mr. Chair.
So yung broadcasters nyo wala, yung talents nyo wala.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
But doon sa sinasabi ng KBP, dapat dumaan muna sa...
Accreditation, Your Honor.
Okay, so okay.
But we will comply, Mr. Chair.
No, I'm not asking you to comply. I'm just trying to find out whether or not they're KBP accredited. So that is the process that should be followed. Am I correct, KBP?
Yes, Your Honor.
And why do you think that process is important?
Well, it is to ensure that those who go on there know the Code of Ethics and are familiar with the rules and regulations governing their conduct during a program, Your Honor.
And after this accreditation is provided to them, is there a monitoring system done by KBP to ensure that those accredited are properly abiding by the regulations and code of ethics you have set for them?
Due to lack of personnel, we don't have an active monitoring. Our monitoring is basically post-event. Mean to say we rely on complaints, and that is the time we require the on-air personnel to explain, or the network to explain, as the case may be. However, if there is information given to us, we may do a motu proprio monitoring, Your Honor.
So thank you very much, KBP. Let me just go back to Attorney Mark Tolentino. So habang wala pa dito yung dalawang paid talents nyo, na kayo pa lang nagbabayad sa kanila, ano yun? Buwan-buwan, ano? 100,000?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ano yun? May BIR yun? Kompleto naman siguro sa mga
Yes, Mr. Chair.
taxes and...
Yes. We complied all the regulations.
Tatanggap din sila ng Christmas bonus pagdating ng itong buwan na to.
We don't consider them as employee, Mr. Chair, but talents.
Talents lang.
Talents.
So wala silang bonus, walang
Yes,
overtime pay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So anyway, so insofar as you pay them, you know, do you have some sort of employer-employee relationship?
No, Mr. Chair.
Oh, you don't?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So what relationship do you have?
They're just talent, Mr. Chair. They're paid per episode, Mr. Chair. So there is no such thing as control as one of the requirement to be considered that there's an employer-employee relationship. That's why we don't consider them as an employee, Mr. Chair, but mere talents.
Yeah, mere talents that you have. And how long has this show been going?
Ilang taon na? Almost 3 years, Mr. Chair.
3 years. So 3 years and yet no control. 3 years and yet paid pa rin sila. No, 3 years, araw-araw umeere na
2
100,000.
hours a day, Mr. Chair.
Huh?
2 hours per day. 1 hour and a half per day.
1 hour and a half per day. Araw-araw yon.
Monday to Friday, Mr. Chair.
So Monday to Friday, 100,000. Kasi lang wala kayong relasyon.
There's a relationship, Mr. Chair, but not an employer-employee relationship.
Okay. So anyway, I just want to go back, no? You mentioned that the reason why the Twitter link, your Twitter video was deleted was because it is connected to Facebook, correct?
The entire Facebook page of SMNI were terminated by SMNI, Mr. Chair. By Facebook, Mr. Chair.
No, but when was the termination of Facebook done?
I think 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Last Saturday, Mr. Chair.
Last Saturday.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
But the link I'm talking about happened last Tuesday.
So, may I know, Mr. Chair, if what is the name of the page, Mr. Chair, so we can verify?
SMNI.
Because there we manage many pages, Mr. Chair.
SMNI.
There's SMNI, there is...
Twitter is not linked to the Facebook account being disabled, actually. To state a fact. So what you're saying earlier, that the reason why it was deleted was because it was linked to your Facebook account, is totally false. Because Facebook is not linked to Twitter when in the disabling of accounts. So
But we cannot open
you
it
might want
anymore.
to you might want to get your facts straight, attorney.
We cannot open now the SMNI page since Saturday, Mr. Chair.
In Facebook.
In Facebook,
But what
Mr.
I'm
Chair.
talking about is Twitter.
Twitter. The Twitter still there is still functioning, Mr. Chair, the Twitter.
Oo nga, but yung post nga, dinelete nyo. Ayun, this post has been deleted,
You can open
Tapos
that
sinabi
to
mo
YouTube.
sa akin kanina, kaya siya dinelete dahil tinanggal kayo sa Facebook dahil connected. And when in fact, it's not.
I think,
Because
Mr. Chair,
Facebook, your page was taken down. You mentioned Saturday. This post is Tuesday.
maybe, Mr. Chair, that is YouTube, Mr. Chair.
No,
No, it's Twitter.
Twitter. Twitter.
We will try to check that, Mr. Chair.
I think, that has to be, I think, your statement. Because up to now, up to today, you're posting videos and news clips in Twitter.
Yes,
So
Mr.
it
Chair.
is active. Your Twitter is active.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So if it's active, why is this particular video not there?
I think the
And
best,
everything is there.
the best person
Everything
to
that you
answer that.
posted before and after is still there. So it could not have been Facebook.
I think the best-
Facebook did it, then dapat lahat yan wala eh.
I think the best person to answer that, Mr. Chair, is the
Point of order.
technical people.
There's a point of order by
I think our resource speaker, the good attorney, does not know our rules. May we remind him, while the chairman is speaking, he should not be speaking.
I'd like to apologize.
Are we waiving the rules of the House insofar as this hearing is concerned? Kami, tatahimik nga kami rito eh. Daldal ka ng daldal dyan without the permission of the Speaker.
Please,
I'd like to apologize for that, Mr. Chair.
thank you. Thank you, Honorable Akop, for reminding everyone here, as mentioned earlier, because the question really is of the Honorable JJ is, he said, FB's out, ergo, nawala lahat. And his contention is, how could it have been na tinanggal? Eh, up to now, nagpo-post nga kayo, tsaka lahat. Andyan pa rin, except that particular, video. It was not on YouTube. We're definitely sure it was not on YouTube.
Mr. Chair,
And, yes.
yes, my concern why I mentioned that is
Yes.
because, I mean, if you have nothing to hide, why are you going to delete the post? You broadcasted it anyway. Is it because a point was raised here in Congress? All of a sudden, you take down that post? Is it because now it's the substance of this committee hearing on franchise, now that post has been deleted? It begs so many questions. So, well, anyway, I'll leave it at that because it seems like Attorney Mark is a little bit confused to why it was deleted. But I'm sure as members of the committee, we can come to our assumptions, no? I'll beg to, yes, Kong Joboy, and then...
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go back to the Honorable
Yeah.
Suarez later on, but Honorable
Yes,
Aquino is
few
recognized.
questions.
O mag-usap
With
ka,
regards
Torpe.
to, also connected with the questions of Honorable Suarez. Yes, before we also have a radio station, and I have a little bit of experience programming, which is almost the same, but medyo level up na to ngayon, di ba? But in every program, it's not a program, there's always a director, di ba? Magsasubmit ka kung ano gagawin ng bawat isa. Di ba? So, same sa inyo. For the whole day, all of those who are going to have programs for the day will submit sa office nyo. This program, ano bing kanina yung what's that, kasama ng
Laban kasama ang bayan.
yeah, and other programs, no? And they're part of that sa submission. Sabihin nila kung anong gagawin, anong sasabihin nila, and what is the topic for the day. Di ba? Okay? So, now, kung sabihin natin, hindi nakita ng management, automatic violation yun na hindi kasama dun sa sinabi. Because kung nakita nyo na may sasabihin na ganyan, I'm 100% sure. Hindi kayo papayag. Di ba? Tapos ina-attack ng nung without any valid na evidence. No? Earlier, it was already explained from the very beginning na ganito lang. And we will stand by that in Congress. So it will now be your word and our word. At mahirap ano yan because that's the truth. Now, earlier, na-mention nyo, 100,000 ang, di ba, bayad sa mga ano. Correct?
Talent fee, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
Talent fee.
It's not a salary but a talent fee.
Yes, talent fee or salary. You are both lawyers. Sa ordinaryang transaction, pagtatanggap ka ng pera na isang tao, always yan may resibo. Di ba? Talent fee. Talent fee, nakalagay doon ano ang gagawin mo sa talent fee. Your talent. What is your talent? Di ba? Oh, now, doon makikita kung anong gagawin mo sa programa mo. Your talent. Di ba? With that, Mr. Chairman, earlier, it was also mention 3 years na tong mga programa nyo. Programa, I would also like to, before I forget, I would like to ask, from SMNI, what is the difference between black timer and regular program? But I would also like to ask a copy of the first contract, because 3 years ago pa to and the latest contract of all black timers and regular. So we will see, we will find out kung ano mga trabaho nito. Kasi medyo naguguluhan na kami. Etong hindi mapigilan kung anong sasabihin. Hindi naman pwede yun. Basta na lang sasabi dyan, tapos pag kami nasaktan, oy, sorry, ganyan na lang. Hindi naman pwede yun. Then it's time to go back sa franchise na binigay sa inyo. Hindi pwede magtago na lang dyan sa disclaimer na yan. Very simple lang po itong in-explain ko sa inyo. I am not a lawyer. No, but kung anong naiisip ko na tama, siguro yun ang simple lang. Hindi kailangan ng paikot-ikot. Gusto ko lang makita yung first na which was 3 years ago is a request, and yung latest na contract ng lahat ng nagbibigay ng service sa SMNI or yung isang name ng company. Or
We will comply that, Mr. Chair. We will submit all the contracts with respect to our talents about laban kasama ang bayan, Mr. Chair.
No, not only one program. Yung ibang programs din. Yung ibang programs.
May I know what
We'll see. We'll find out kung iba-ibang klaseng services as what you've said. Di ba? Then, lastly, have you ever signed contract as witness or as legal? Different contracts ng SMI.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Are you? Have you? Answer
Yes,
that
Mr.
yes. They have.
Also with this, yung yung services.
I am the legal counsel of SMNI. Same time, I'm also a host of one of program of SMNI, the Pinoy Legal Minds, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, the Honorable Jose Aquino II. May katanungan lang po ko. Ano pong posisyon ni Pastor Kibroy?
Based on my answer, Mr. Chair, last question, he is our honorary chairman, Mr. Chair.
No. Pero anong tawag ko sa kanya?
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy.
Is he also, is the highest, I suppose? Siya po pinakamataas sa Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Siya po.
No, Mr. Chair.
Sino po pinakamataas po?
The head of the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ is Marlon Acobo, Mr. Chair.
Marlon?
Brother Marlon Acobo.
Okay. Siya po ang pinaka...
Yes, he is the head, Mr. Chair.
Ano tawag po sa kanya?
Brother Marlon Acobo.
Okay. So, ano siya? Pag sabi yung pinakamataas, siya po yung executive pastor.
Executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. The name above every name incorporated.
Siya po yun.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Si Brother
Marlon P. Acobo.
Acobo. Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, the Honorable JJ Suarez.
Thank you very much. So I'll just continue with my line of questioning. Dito po sa, ewan ko lang kung nabasa na sa inyo to, no? Republic Act 11422, no? Under Section 4, it's stated here, let me read. Medyo mahaba itong sentence na to. At all times, sound, balanced programming, promote public participation, assist in the functions of public information and education, conform to the ethics of honest enterprise, promote audience sensibility and empowerment, including closed captioning, and not use its stations or facilities for broadcasting of obscene or indecent language, speech, act or scene, or for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of public interests, or to incite, encourage, or assist in subversive or treasonable acts. Nakasad po ito sa Republic Act 11422.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
This is your privilege, your
Yes,
franchise.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Correct. It is my position that when your paid talents that have been in your company for the past 3 years, broadcasting Monday to Friday, 2.5 hours, he said?
1
1.5 hours
Yes.
from Monday to Friday. When they came out on live broadcast and said that the speaker spent 1.8 billion pesos is dissemination of deliberately false information and willful misrepresentation. That is my position. And you're saying it was just a mere question. A question, attorney, is this. Congressman Joboy, what color is your barong? That is a question. But when you say on live TV, meron po kaming natanggap na balita. Ang speaker ay gumastos ng 1.8 billion pesos sa traveling. Hindi lang yun. Baka madagdagan pa yan kung isasama yung entourage. Baka umabot pa ng 2 billion. Dinagdagan pa. At sinabi, how do you spend 1.8 billion pesos? Umuwi pa ba siya sa bahay? That's not a question, attorney. That is, at the very least, malicious innuendo. At the very least. But from where I'm standing, that is a direct accusation to the House of Representatives. Now, SMNI, sabi nyo, paid talents nyo yun, hindi na nga dumaan sa KBP Code of Ethics at seminar at wala silang certification. At alam nyo, yung manner kung paano nila kinokondak yung sarili nila, eh at the very least, dapat pinagsabihan nyo sila. Tapos yan sinasabi nyo, meron kayong ginagawang internal investigation ngayon.
Ongoing, Mr. Chair.
But what is sad is the following day, they came out again on TV, justifying what they said. Saying that what we said, dapat hindi kayo nasaktan kasi question lang yon. Di sana ang sinabi ninyo, yung nilabas po namin kahapon, ay yun po ay hindi po verified. Katanungan lang po yun. Kaya po doon ay sa direct statement this challenge on you. If you can prove that the 1.8 billion pesos is true, I'll resign. But if I can prove that the 1.8 billion that your program said is false, lagay nyo dito yung prangkisa nyo on the line. Ay ka?
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Hindi, yes or no?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair. I'm just a lawyer, and that's not part of my authority. But if
Payag, kasi lang, payag ka?
no, no, Mr. Chair,
Hindi. So kasi alam nyo lang alanganin.
because I have no authority, Mr. Chair, to talk.
Kasi alam nyo alanganin. Alanganin kasi yung statement ninyo. Nandiyan si Presidente, yung President. Mr. Dapat paninindigan nyo kasi mahirap yung ganon.
If I may,
Hindi nyo na nga pinanindigan yung Twitter post niyo na wala na nga sa Twitter. Tapos yung statement nyo, hindi nyo pa paninindigan. So,
Mr. Chair,
Mr. President, can you please answer the question raised by the Honorable Suarez?
I have no right to decide. I think I have to ask the board of directors.
Okay. And yeah, okay. So the question raised by Honorable Suarez is an answer that he's requesting now, but I don't know if he's willing to defer until tomorrow, or he's willing to resign any time of the day.
Well,
If
if
you're
they
willing,
can prove-
if you're willing to put your franchise also down.
if they can prove their statement of 1.8 billion pesos is true. Okay. But if they cannot,
Okay. So
that is a direct violation of their franchise. Now, question, anyway, we'll move to that later on. Medyo nangangatog na yata yung tuhod nito. Who's yung executive producer ng show?
Miss Noemi Parane, sir.
Who?
Miss Noemi Parane, Your Honor.
Is he here with us
No,
today?
no. She's not invited.
Is he within the vicinity? Can he be? Can she? Is she no? Can she be invited? Can she be invited?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ano pong pangalan? Can you please state her name again?
I'm Marlon Rosete.
Hindi po. Yung executive producer.
Noemi Parane po.
Ha?
Noemi Parane.
Yeah. Noemi. Yeah. So can we please invite the executive producer to the committee? Is she within the area lang? Nasaan po kaya siya, sir?
Nasa Makati, Your Honor.
O di malapit lang pala. Baka pwede rin po natin maantay. Kasi yung dalawa yata news anchor niya parating na, di ba?
Parang nasa vicinity na po, Your Honor.
Ha?
Nasa vicinity na po. Sinundo na po, Your Honor.
Okay, fantastic. So anyway, I'll just reserve my other questions for my next round.
Questions. KBP. Is KBP here? Nag-CR. Okay, mamaya na. Balik muna tayo sa SMNI. For the President, does SMNI monitor, supervise, or exercise oversight over the content of its programs?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's clear. So, in spite of the disclaimer, you're now saying that you have an oversight. Okay. Can you describe the extent of your monitoring, supervision, and oversight of your program content?
We have a regular editorial meeting.
How often?
Once, twice a week, Your Honor.
Okay. So, so when you say editorial meeting, the content is discussed.
Yes, Your Honor.
The content.
But we cannot ask them what to ask, what to say.
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
But the discussion of the budget of the speaker of 1.8 was discussed in your editorial
No,
meeting.
Your Honor.
So how did it come into the program? Paano na pag-usapan if the content is discussed in your editorial meeting?
Random po yun, Your Honor.
And do you think that that's in line with your policy and you allow that?
No, that's why we have an ongoing internal investigation right now.
How long does it take? It's been 3 days.
I think I'm not in the position to answer. Maybe Eric Selix is coming also. Is coming, the anchor.
No, I'm asking how long will it take for you to investigate? Kayo nag-investigate. Gano'ng katagal po usually yung pag-iimbestiga niya?
Maybe until tomorrow, Your Honor.
So, para magkaroon kayo ng resulta.
Yes po.
Even if you do not exercise editorial control over the speech of your anchors as you claim, don't you think it's your duty under your franchise not to permit unprotected speech during the program?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is your job.
Yes.
So if it was your job and you exercise editorial content, inamin nyo yan. Sinasabi nyo rin, duty nyo under your franchise is to make sure that unprotected speech is not disseminated. Trabaho nyo rin po yan.
Yes po, Your Honor.
So, ano pong parusa yan? Responsibilidad nyo pala yan. So now, kung yan ay responsibilidad nyo, you're now saying that you're still hiding under a disclaimer. Inamin nyo naman, responsibilidad nyo lahat yan. Responsibilidad nyo ang laman ng programa. Responsibilidad nyo rin na hindi sila magsalta ng hindi maayos. Ano po ang inyong, bakit po kayo hindi ko kayo pwede magtago sa disclaimer.
Your Honor, there is no prior censorship. That's why you cannot tell them what to say.
I don't understand what prior censorship means.
Yeah.
I mean, they're your anchors. You dictate the content. So ano po magiging parusa ko niyan kung sila yung naglabag?
We call their attention. Yeah, we will call their attention and we ask them to explain
So hindi niyo po nagagawa yun?
until tomorrow, Your Honor.
KBP, nagtataas po kayo ng kamay? Or,
Your Honor, I beg your indulgence. I was informed that you were looking for me when I went to the...
yes.
Thank you.
My question would be, when they asked, they were saying that I have a question. Is a question premised on false information in line with ethical journalism?
Your Honor, I cannot fully grasp the context, but a question can be premised on a false information to seek the truth. For example, in the statement, may information kami ng gastos ng House of Representatives or office ni Speaker sa travel is 1.8 billion. Totoo kaya ito? That's the question. Or ano ang masasabi ng Congress dito? That's the question. But it doesn't give credence to the statement. But in the example given earlier, I think what he was referring to as the question was, umuwi pa ba ito? Nagtatanong lang. That's a style of, that may have been the question being referred to.
So do you agree that the other statement of 1.8 as stated by the Honorable Suarez was not a question?
Based on what I heard,
It is not a
it
question.
was not a question.
Thank you very much. At least we're clear that it was not a question and it was a accusation as stated by the Honorable Suarez.
Or an allegation, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay? Before we proceed, the Chair recognizes the Honorable Busita of One Rider. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pupunta. Okay. So, we now proceed. We now have the presence, the anchor of the program, Can you please introduce yourselves? Laban kasama ang bayan. Pwede po papakilala po kayo.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. I am Lorraine Marie Tibatoy, an anchor of the Laban Kasama ng Bayan.
Ayos Soday.
Sir?
Yung kasama po.
Okay.
Magandang hapon po sa mga kagalang-galang na kasapi ng Kongreso at sa komitibang ito. Ako po si Jeffrey K. Eric Celis, co-anchor po sa programa ng SMNI na Laban Kasamang Bayan.
Maraming salamat kasi kanina pa kayo gusto ko usapin maraming pong katanungan ang ating Vice Chair ng committee at ang ating Deputy Majority Leader. We can now go to the second round of questioning.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
yes.
with your permission, I think we have a resource person from MTRCB who had just arrived.
Is MTRCB present?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
And,
Dito si
and
Attorney Pareha is here. Attorney, welcome ho sa inyong presensya ho dito.
Good afternoon, sir.
can I just request, Mr. Chair, that the new resource person that arrived, can they please be administer their oath?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Can we ask Attorney Pareha and the two anchors to please rise? And may I direct the COMSEC to administer the oath?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this congressional inquiry? So help you God. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. The Honorable Vice Chair, Johnny Pimentel, Mr. Chair. Ano po yun?
Can I request the two anchor to sit besides?
Diyan na po sila.
So we can.
Okay lang ho. Diyan na ho sila para ho, kasi may mga nakaupo dyan yata. Yes, the Honorable Pimentel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'd like to thank Ka Eric and Yusik Lorraine for answering our request to attend this hearing. Alam na po ninyo siguro bakit na we are conducting this inquiry. It is with regards to your program wherein you alleged na gumastos po ang Kongreso ng 1.8 billion pesos sa traveling expenses. Now, we're also here to determine whether SMNI is liable with regards to the violation of Section 4 of the franchise, disseminating unverified news. Ngayon, tinanong po natin, Mr. Chair, kanina sa mga legal counsel ng SMNI regarding this program at saka yung mga statements ng dalawang anchor persons, but unfortunately, they were not in a position to answer our questions. So nandito na po yung dalawang anchor person. Tanungin ko po kayo, sino po yung nagsabi na merong 1.8 billion pesos na ginastos ang Kongreso para sa traveling expenses, Mr. Chair?
May I request the honorable committee members and the chairman to allow me to answer about the
Yes.
question. Ako po yung nagsabi sa forma ng pagtatanong mula po sa dalawang pinanggalingang impormasyon na pumasok po sa amin, particularly sa akin. And hindi po yung buong Kongreso ang tinutumbok ng pagtatanong na yon, kung hindi ang Office of the Speaker ni Speaker Martin Romualdez. So to give context to that, ini-interview po namin si former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission Chairperson Greco Belica tungkol po sa 1.1 billion na allegation sa travel expenses ni Secretary Luis Saga ng DNR. Live via Zoom siya. And then pumasok po yung unang impormasyon. Yung isang impormasyon ay unlisted number sa cellphone ko. Yung isa po ay kilala ko na source. At dati ko na po siyang nakakausap nung ako po ay nasa National Operations Command ng NPA. So matagal ko na siyang kilala at nagbibigay siya ng mga impormasyon noon nung ako isa aktibo pa sa NPA. So nagtutugma yung kanilang pagtatanong. Ka Eric, kindly ask
the resource persons, former Secretary Greco Belica, kung totoo ba na may 1.8 billion na umabot na expenses si Speaker Martin Romualdez from the travel. So ako po yung unang nagbungad niyan habang ini-interview namin si Secretary Greco Belica. At ang source ko po, ang isa ay unlisted number sa text message, pero tumugma po doon sa isang source na kilala ko. And yun po ang dahilan kung bakit kami nagbungad noon without any intent of malice or imputing any sign of disrespect to the Speaker of the House, because it is we presume it is part of our editorial authority and policy as well to open questions pertaining to public interest issues. And sinabi namin na sana magpaliwanag ito si Speaker Martin Romualdez or ang House of Representatives as a matter of our obligation under the editorial authority provided by SMNI sa mga anchors.
Mr. Chair, Kyrie, when you delivered your statement, you presumed that your source was correct. Kayo po ba ay naniniwala na may 1.8 billion pesos na ginastos ang Kongreso para sa travel expenses?
Your Honor, kung naniniwala pa ako outright, hindi ibig sabihin affirmative ka agad ang posisyon ko. Yung tono po ng pag-deliver sa buong konteksto ng programa ay pagtatanong, clarification, because we want to clarify matters of public interest that are so serious, like the information na ibinahagi po sa amin. So wala po kaming conclusion doon.
Alam, Mr. Chair, may we know sino po ang source ninyo?
May I request, Your Honor, to refer to the legal advice of the legal team from the SMNI.
I don't think, Mr. Chair, I have to refer to the legal counsel. Kayo po ang tinatanong ko, Kyrie. Sino po ba ang source ninyo? Remember that you're under oath.
Yes.
And under our house rules, if you cannot answer my question truthfully, we can cite you for contempt and we can detain you. So again, let me ask you again, Mr. Chair, sino po bang source ninyo?
Again, may I request, Your Honor, to be guided properly on my legal rights and on my legal basis and foundation to appropriately answer the question of the Honorable Congressman so that I will be protected also of my constitutional and legal rights before I give the answer to a very sensitive request from the Honorable Congressman.
Mr. Chair, may I...
Honorable Franz Castro.
Kasi Mr. Chair, yung ating dalawang lawyer dito, they are corporate lawyers. And they are not lawyer of individual anchor. So yun po ang sabi nila.
Alam po ninyo, bago po kayo dumating, kaklaruhin ko na po yung sasabi ni Congressman, ni Pong Castro. Kanina po, tinatanong po namin yung kayo. Ang sagot ko nila, hindi kami dito para depensahan ang mga anchor namin. Andito kami for SMNI. Ergo, wala po silang sinasabi na wala silang otoridad na depensahan kayo. That's why, transversely, now that we're asking you, and they already manifested under oath that they cannot, they're not here to defend you or to even assist you. Therefore, we're asking, and we will have to be very clear that the question of the Honorable Pimentel should be answered directly by you. Mr. Chair. Kasi po, pinag-uusapan po natin klaro naman ho kayo kanina, 3 beses kami nagtanong sa inyo
Yes,
diba,
sir.
3 beses mo kasi hanapin natin sa transcript, andyan yan.
Yes.
Hindi ko kami nandito para depensa ng mga anchor namin. Katunayan, may disclaimer nga kami dyan Kung ano sabihin nila, wala kaming pakialam. Hindi yun sasabi nyo kanina
Yes, Mr. Chair.
That's
That's answer, Mr.
right.
Chair.
Now that we've said that, we cannot entertain that request because you manifested that earlier.
But for purposes of due
Mr.
process...
Chair, again,
Donald
ulitin ko, malapit na akong uminit ang ulo. I will move to cite you in contempt for not obeying our rules.
Again, sorry for that, Mr. Chair.
Kami nga tahimik na tahimik dito. Inaantay namin yung permission ng chairman.
Oo.
Ikaw naman, resource person dito. Daldal ka ng daldal.
Thank you, the Honorable
I'd like to apologize
Ampo.
for that, Mr. Chair.
Yes. So now, Please answer the question of the Honorable Pimentel.
Mr. Chair, again, may I ask Ka-Eric, sino po bang source ninyo dito sa sinasabi ninyong gumastos ang Kongreso ng 1.8 billion pesos para sa traveling expenses?
Your Honor, if I may respectfully be allowed to request the honorable body, this committee, since the question, I think, borders to my right about the protection of my source as well as to my constitutional right, may I humbly request the committee, are my constitutional rights suspended in this committee hearing? Because it is my right, I believe, to have a legal advice on sensitive matters that require for me to be protected by my constitutional right. So, without offense meant to the honorable members of this committee, may I be allowed to exercise the constitutional right for me to have a counsel to properly advise me on legally sensitive question, which I believe may deem into the encroachment of my fundamental constitutional guarantee of rights in the Constitution.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, the Honorable Akop is recognized.
we as a body or individually are not suppressing the rights of Mr. Celis. We're just asking him a question. If he wants to answer so, he answers. If not, he tells us the reason why he will not be able to answer. Di po ba? Hindi naman namin sinusuppress yung right mo rito eh. We're not. We're just asking you a question. Now, if you prefer to answer it, do so. If not, then you say so, why not? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And also, it's not infringing, it is not an incriminatory, di ba? It's not incriminatory, therefore you cannot cite the right to self-incrimination.
Mr. Chair, aside from this and more than that, we are not conducting hearing under a court of law. We're conducting hearing in Congress. And I'm not very sure if you are entitled to a legal counsel. Hindi naman to kaso itong inaatubag natin. This is an inquiry in aid of legislation. And it's a simple question because what we are trying to determine here, Mr. Chair, ikaw yung sinabi ho ninyo, totoo ba yun o hindi? Based on the privileged speech of Congressman J.J. Romualdez J.J. Suarez, we would like to know, kasi baka naman tainted itong source mo, whether this was politically motivated. In fact, hindi ko nga alam kung bakit na pinalabasin yung 1.8 billion pesos yung traveling expenses ni Speaker, when in fact, for your enlightenment, Yusek Lorin and Ka-Eric, Mr. Chair, andito po yung finance officer natin. Nandito po din kanina si Secretary General Velasco para madinigo lang ninyo to Mr. Bobby Maling. Magkano ang ginastos ng Kongreso at ni Speaker for this year para sa traveling expenses? Para madinig po ni Ka-Eric at saka ni Lorraine.
With your permission, Mr. Chair, for the Office of the Speaker, the total expenses for the travel is 4.3 million, more or less, Mr. Chair. And for the other expenses, for the other official expenses, it's 35.2 million, Mr.
Okay. Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair.
it is very clear po, no, Ka-Eric and Lori. Ang ginastos lang po ni Speaker Romualdez was 4.3 million pesos from January to October. Ang Kongreso was 35 million. So ang kabuuan po ng gastos ng Kongreso, including yung travel ni Speaker, was only 39 million pesos. Pero yung sa show ninyo, ang sinabi nyo kay Speaker lang ang binanggit ninyo, hindi yung sa Kongreso. So actually, it was only 4.3 million pesos. Napakalayo naman po doon sa sinabi nyo na 1.8 billion pesos. Hindi po kaya na ginagamit ninyo ang SMNI for a smear campaign? Because in the recent months, ilang mga shows, ilang mga programa ng SMNI was directed to malign, to attack Congress as an institution. Kaya po tanong ko, baka naman yung programa ninyo ginagamit na rin yan para atakihin ang Kongreso, kaya we need to know yung source ninyo. Because if not, baka naman gawa-gawa lang ninyo na yung sinasabi nyong source, wala naman kayong source. Kaya ang gusto naming malaman, kung ito ba ay gagawa-gawa ninyo or according to you, there's a source. Because we want also to know whether SMNI is liable for the violation of Section 4 of your franchise. Sinasabi kanina ni Attorney Tolentino, meron silang disclaimer. But on the other hand, there is a conflict. But on the other hand, may disclaimer nga sila na wala daw silang pakialam so kung anong sabihin ng mga anchor persons. However, he said that your talents of SMNI paid by SMNI. So meaning you're under control of SMNI. So that disclaimer does not apply. Mag-apply lang siguro yung disclaimer if you're a black timer. But according to SMNI officials, you are talents of SMNI. So directly, you are under their management and supervision. Kaya dapat, Mr. Chair, malaman natin yung source. O baka naman guni-guni lang ni Ka Eric yung source na yun. You have two sources, you said. Yung unang source, taga saan ba? Or from where? From media ba? From Congress?
Mr. Chair, may I please say something first, Mr. Chair? Could I?
The question is directed to Ka Eric. So, can you please reply?
Yes,
Ka
Mr.
Eric?
Chair, I'm directing the question to Ka Eric because he said earlier, I asked both of them, sabi niya siya nagsalita nung sa 1.8 billion pesos. Gusto natin ma-certain, sinasabi niya may dalawang source siya. Saan nga nanggaling yung source, Mr. Chair? Until now, napakasimpleng tanong po ito, this is not self-incriminating because we are not under the court of law. This is only an inquiry in aid of legislation. Kung natatakot po kayong kakasuhan, ano naman ikakaso sa inyo? Isasabihin lang naman ninyong source. Unless sabi ko nga, wala talagang source.
May I be allowed to reply to the question, Mr. Chairman, please, and to the Honorable Congressman? I believe in the practice of journalism, the protection of the integrity and the trust and confidence of the source in the stories or in the information gathered related to stories are sacred. They are like contracts. If not legally as a contract, sacred po yun para sa mga journalists. Nandito yung mga media. I know how they also feel kapag pinilit sila na ang source nila ilabas nila doon sa mga sensitibong impormasyon. So yun po ang aking inaalala. Dahil ang source ko na ito, Congressman Pimentel Sir, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, matagal ko na siyang source nung nasa NPA pa ako. At wala po akong pag-aalangan na ang kanya mga impormasyon na ibinibigay ay tumutugma doon sa mga impormasyon na nakukuha ko when I was still part of the National Intelligence Unit of the NPA National Operations Command. So kilala ko siya. The other source, sinabi ko na po, Your Honors, ito po ay unlisted number. Dinilit ko siya, pero nagulat lang ko na tumugma sa isang source na kilala ko. And I had a meeting with him. May pinakita siya, ayun tuloy, na-reveal ang gender. Na lalaki siya. I had a meeting with the source at may pinakita sa mga documents. Hindi kaagad kami nag-conclude because I have to seek audience and guidance from the editorial authority of SMNI. But the question was posed immediately because the source texted us during the interview live kay former Secretary Greco Bilica. So nang kinausap ko siya, sabi ko we need the documents to sustain the discussion. So hindi po ito smear campaign or isang kampanyang orchestrated para sumira sa imahin at integridad ng House of Representatives. I believe sakop po ito ng tamang paglulunsad ng press freedom at gawaing pang journalist yung ginagawa namin. Dahil kami po ay naniniwala na public interest issue na magkaroon ng pagpapaliwanag sa pamamagitan po ng paghahayag na ito, kagaya ng we are now very enlightened. Thank you so much, Your Honors, na sinabi po dito na less than 5 million pala yung expenses ni Speaker Martin Romualdez at yung buong House of Representatives ay nasa 35 million lang. So kung inilahad namin ito as a series of special report, we need vetting and verification dun sa source. Hindi ko po siya pwedeng ma-reveal because pag na-reveal siya, there were a lot of information na naibigay niya noon sa amin nung nasa NPA ako na pinagkatiwala niya sa akin dahil kami ay may mabuting relasyon tungkol sa secrecy of information. So kaya po ako humihingi ng pag-unawa ng body na ito na kapag ito po siya ay ma-reveal, eh baka maraming makakalkal na mga impormasyon na hindi na
Mr.
kailangan
Chair,
po.
sinasabi kanina ni Ka-Eric na tumutugma. Kanina pa he's saying the word how many times yung tumutugma. Sa tingin ba ninyo tumutugma yung 1.8 billion pesos doon sa 4.3 million pesos na it is on record, it is a public document, we can release that to the public? Napakalayo naman. Ba't ka magsasabi na tumutugma? Eh wala naman pagtutugma yung 1.8 billion pesos to 4.3. It's a simple arithmetic. Napakalayo naman po. And then you said earlier, Mr. Chair, si Ka-Eric, sabi niya na binibet yung source. In this case, very clear, you did not bet your source. Paano naman yung sasabihin mong 1.8 to ano? Kung nagtanong lang kayo dito sa Kongreso, magkano eh mas lalong tutugma doon. Pero yung sinasabi mo yun, walang pagtutugma yun. That's way 1.8 billion pesos compared to 4.3 million pesos.
Your Honor, if I
At
may...
saka alam ko, Mr. Chair, kaya tinatanong namin ang source mo, baka naman politically motivated yan. Baka naman yung source mo ay isang politiko na gusto lang manira. As you have said, kailangan i-vet, but very clear, it was not vetted yung source mo. Bakit tiging 1.8 billion pesos ang 4.3 million pesos?
Sir, if I...
Ako tatanong ko sa iyo, Mr. Chair, you are part of media. Hindi kaya nasunog ka doon sa impormasyon na binigay sa iyo?
Sir, may I reply?
Yes, you may now reply.
Thank you, sir. Baka na, with due respect kay Congressman Pimentel, hindi ko po sinasabi na tumutugma doon sa data na inirelease ng Finance Committee. Tumutugma yung source ko doon sa nag-text. Kahit review po natin yung record, naka-record po naman tayo lahat. Tumutugma, kaya po binigyan ng pagkakataon na bigyan ng atensyon, Congressman Pimentel, sir, Your Honor. Tumutugma yung unang text doon sa ibinigay na information din ng source.
Yeah, I know, I understand yung Mr. Chair. Sinasabi mo, kino-compare mo yung unang source mo doon sa pangalawang source mo. Sinasabing pareho, which is pareho silang mali.
Yes,
Hindi
now,
ba?
if
Ngayon, Mr. Chair, tanong ko sa iyo, aminin mo ba na mali yung impormasyon mo?
Ngayon po.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, that's why we need vetting. Kaya nga hindi namin inilabas as a special report or news. It was a commentary
Mr.
question.
Chair,
It was a commentary
sa
question.
very clear, it is on record, it is on the minutes, inaamin po ninyo na nagkamali kayo ng information ninyo dahil sa nasabi nyo 1.8 pero 4.3 lang. Now, since nagkamali kayo, are you willing to recant your statements and apologize to Congress?
If that will heal the wound of the degree of an amount of insult that was forwarded to Congress, kung ganun pong epekto niyan, wala pong problema sa akin personally yon. Because trabaho po namin na kilalanin ang pagkakamali kung may pagkakamali. Pero trabaho din po namin ang magtanong kung may dapat itanong. Ang pagpapaliwanag po sa mga datos na ito ay isang oportunidad na nanggaling doon sa pagtatanong. And we are very much willing to admit that indeed the source was wrong. In this committee hearing, we are very appreciative of the guidance provided by us by the data. Sa tanong ni Honorable Congressman Pimentel, am I ready to personally apologize to Speaker Martin Romualdez and to the House of Representatives for the effect of insult created by that kind of questioning, which is now being given a proper enlightenment? Yes, sir. My answer is on the affirmative, Congressman Pimentel.
Mr. Chair, Eric, let me very clear. The matter that we are discussing here is not a matter of insult. What we are discussing or what we are deliberating is what is the truth. Yung po hindi naman ibig sabihin na we are conducting an inquiry dahil na-insultong kongreso, na-insultong institusyon. We are conducting this inquiry kasi lumalabas nga mali yung balita na pinalabas ninyo. Yun lang po naman ang gusto naming matuwid. Kung mali yun, you accept the fact na nagkamali po kayo. Because hindi lang ito yung cases na nangyari sa SMNI. Earlier, wala pa po kayo. Si Attorney Domingo has already stated that there have been many cases that have been filed against SMNI. Sa pang-aapi nga, sa mga individual. So it seems that SMNI is going to that direction where it is being used, the franchise is being used to attack individuals. Yun dapat hindi naman yun ang mandato ninyo. It is very clear in Section 4 that you should not disseminate fake news or unverified reports. And then, kanina nga, sinabi ni Attorney Tolentino that yes, there are many cases but they have not been found guilty. It's not a matter of being convicted, but rather, although it's true, wala pa hong guilty verdict yung mga kaso, but the fact remains that there have been so many cases filed against SMNI simply means that meron ho kayong mga violations. Simply means na marami na kayong inatake kasi kung wala, edi wala sanang kaso. Iba ho yung matter ng being found guilty. But the fact still remains na kaya nga kayo pinailan ng kaso as what Attorney Domingo has said because of your vicious attacks on individuals. And ngayon, inaatake na naman ninyo yung Kongreso, which has been done before, hanggang kailan kayo magtitigil? Sana naman po, this should just be a reminder to the anchor persons na bago kayo magpalabas ng mga reports ninyo, sabi mo nga, kailangan i-vet this time around, hindi nyo na-vet ng insakto because reputations of individuals and political leaders are at stake. So sana naman po, wag na nyo ang gamitin yung programa ninyo para sa pag-atake ng mga individual. But rather, sabi nga ninyo, ay yung programa nyo, laban para sa bayan. Hindi na laban para sa bayan nyo, kundi pag-atake na sa mga individual. So yun lang po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Po, klaro ka. Alam po ninyo, hindi naman ho kayo personal ang Kaya nga sinabi ko, wala naman pong hindi po kayo personal ang aming ang rason kung bakit po tayo nandito. Ang talagang rason nito, at hindi naman po ito press freedom. Ang dito, meron bang violation sa prangkisa? Yun lang ho to. Okay? Ito po ang punot dulo ng hearing na to. Okay? It's about, is there a violation of the franchise?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay? Kaya po, nasa committee kayo ng legislative franchise. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yung katabi ho niya wanted to speak,
May I?
Ma'am
Yes, just
Lorraine,
very
if
quickly
you
lang
wanted
po,
to
sir.
speak,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
you have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just want to respond to the Honorable Pimentel when he said that there was might be a smear campaign against Congress. And that's farthest from the truth po. Kasi me personally, my father was a congressman for a very long time. I was a very young girl when I ran the whole, dito ako tumatakbo, dito ako lumaki po sa Patbatasan. When I lost my mother when I was very young. So this place is very dear to me, as well as the work of the people in Congress. So walang-wala po yan sa isip namin, lalo na sa SMNI. At saka po, buo yung tiwala namin sa institusyon. At yun yung siguro gusto kong mawala sa isip ninyo, na hindi po, walang katiting na katotohanan doon. Punong-puno kami ng respeto at admiration sa trabaho ng Kongreso. Alam namin yon. At yung pangbababoy na ginagawa sa Kongreso, aware po kami dyan. Aware na aware kami at kasama ninyo kami sa paglinis ng Kongreso. Yun ang adhikain ng SMNI. Kung kaya't ginagawa namin ito at kung kaya't ako'y nagpapasalamat sa napakalinaw na sagot na binigay nyo ngayon na 35 million lang pala at saka 4 million lang pala. So maliwanag na there are really people in our country who are out to destroy Congress. Alam na alam po namin yan, sir. Ay hindi lang ang Kongreso kundi ang buong bansa. Alam po namin yan. At sa SMNI, ang totoo po ito, hindi po pera ang motibasyon namin kung hindi pagmamahal sa bayan. Alam ko na halos non-profit na yan. Wala pong gustong kumuha ng mga, lalo na sa laban kasi it's not a sexy topic. It's anti-CPP, NPA, NDF. And that is our dream to finally rid of our country of those communist terrorists in our country, no? Na nagnakaw ng mga anak namin. So dumudulog kami sa inyo na isipin niyo naman na kami ang partners ninyo dito kasi yun po ang katotohanan. Yun lang po, sir.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Suarez is recognized.
I just want to go back to Ka Eric. So Ka Eric, yung source po ninyo, kanina binanggit nyo isang unverified number at isang dating source nyo sa CPP-NPA. Sino po siya?
With due respect to Honorable Suarez, sir, I refuse to answer because I think it is my right to protect my source as a journalist. And since it is very clear that the source failed to authenticate and validate the information provided for us, as per revelation in Congress right now, Congressman Suarez, Mr. Chairman, sir. So it means that it will be between us and the source already to talk. And I do not see any need to reveal him because he had helped a lot as a source in my previous operations.
And the other source you mentioned is an unverified
Unlisted
number.
Yes, sir.
Unlisted.
Unlisted.
Do you still have the text active?
No, I'm trying to retrieve. That's why I was trying to check the message box. Wala na po, sir. Hindi ko siya na-save na. And
So what you're saying is one source is an unverified number and the other source is
a previous source.
your previous kasamahan mo sa CPP-NPA.
Sorry, Your Honor. Hindi siya CPP, NPA, NDF, pero nakakatrabaho po niya ang unit namin sa National Intelligence ng NPA.
At siya po ay isang pribadong mamamayan.
Opo. Right now, I will wait for the advice of the council to reveal kasi matitrace siya, sir. Pag sinabi ko kung saan siya ngayon.
Well, look, we need to, if you're gonna be secretive about divulging information, it puts question on the validity of your statements. Because now you're hiding the truth by, all sorts of layers and layers and layers of reasons. It's just a valid question. Who is your source?
Yeah.
Because if your source, excuse me, ma'am,
Sino po kayo? Yeah, but we need to take your oath. So I suggest that you...
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we be informed who that lady in brown is, Mr. Chair?
Ano po pangalan? Ana. Papakiko lang yung pangalan niya. Thank you. Tsaka anong posisyon niya.
Kasi if she wants to be recognized, she can get a seat and speak.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyway, so Eric, going back. So, yung source po ninyo, isang taong hindi nyo kilala kasi unverified yung number. Tapos yung isa dati yung kasamahan at pinaghuhugutan ng impormasyon.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Ang lalaking ito, sinabi nyo lang na lalaki.
May him.
Oo, nakita di umano kayo at may dokumento pinakita. Yung dokumentong yun, nasa na po yun?
Nasa kanya po.
Nasa kanya.
Kasi sana magkakaroon pa ng next meeting. The meeting was already overtaken by events dahil po sa investigation na ito.
Saan po kayo nagkita?
In a private place po. Sa malapit lang po sa area kung saan din po nakatira siya ngayon.
Malapit lang po sa area. kung saan
Nasa
siya.
Maynila lang siya po, sir, ngayon.
Okay. I mean, you can give it, you have to give more validity to your statements. I mean, you were so quick to mention 1.8 billion, but now when we're talking about specifics, now you're starting to become, for some reason, evasive. So, my question is, when did you see your source?
Mr. Chairman and Honorable Suarez, sir, kahapon lang.
Kahapon kayo nakita.
Okay, because he texted the message. During the time na ini-interview namin si former Secretary Greco Belica.
So kahapon kayo nakita. Kahapon is Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
Kaso lang Tuesday ako nag-deliver ng point of personal and collective privilege. Monday, nyo pinalabas yung show.
Tama po.
Tapos kahapon lang kayo nagkita.
Kasi kahapon lang siya available. He came from the province during a travel.
Okay, so kailan naiabot sa iyo yung dokumento na sinabi mong pinagbasihan mo ng 1.8 billion?
Ipinakita niya lang po, maraming mga documents yun. Hindi
Kailan
lang po.
yun? Kailan yun?
Kahapon.
Hindi ko maintindihan. You said on Monday night, was that a live broadcast or a tape?
Live broadcast.
It was live broadcast where you stated that the speaker spent 1.8 billion.
As a question, please po, sir.
Yeah, no, it was a statement. We can debate later whether it was a statement, but okay. You mentioned 1.8 billion on Monday. What was the basis of the 1.8 billion? You said it came from two sources. One unverified number and one from your source that you don't want to mention.
Yes.
My question is, when did you meet and see the documents to give that statement that you issued on Monday?
The 1.8 billion, as a reference question po, itinext niya na. So sabi ko, do you have the document? Sabi niya na sa out of town pa ako. Wednesday ako.
So itinext sa iyo nung Lunes.
Lunes. Kaya nga tinanong namin.
Okay. Di klaro na. So nakatanggap ka ng dalawang text.
Dalawang text.
Nung Lunes.
Yes, sir.
Ngayon, yung nagpadala sa iyo, nakilala mo na matagal, government employee ba siya?
I will only proceed to give details about the source when it is clarified by a legal competent advisor.
It's a yes or no?
I request to refuse the answer. To answer.
I'm sorry, your seatmate just mentioned you're here to uphold the integrity and help the House uncover the truth. So let's uncover the truth. Is he or she a government employee?
May I request? There are lawyers in the room.
It's just a yes or no, Eric.
Because when I state kung saan siya connected at ano siya, it will really
No, just
now
tell
go
me.
on the question.
No, is this a government employee or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
As a government employee.
Yes.
Okay, so now does the government employee work in Congress?
No further answer about that, sir.
No, it's yes or no. Does he work in Congress?
No, sir.
No. No. Okay, because in your statement, you said, based on my source in Congress, gumastos si Speaker Martin Romualdez ng 1.8 billion pesos. Sinabi mo, based on my source from Congress. And you just said now that he is not an employee of Congress.
Lower house? No.
Huh?
Congress is two. Senate and lower house. Not from the lower house. Congress is composed of two houses. Lower house and Senate. So wala po sa House of Representatives.
So what you're saying is sa Senado,
Obviously.
di ba? So kasi
Eh, baka pa-imbestigahan din ako ng Senado dahil
hindi, kasi ang sinabi mo doon, ang sinabi mo sa statement mo, based on my source in Congress. And you just said that your source is not in Congress. Oops, Senado pala.
because I was thinking Congress
So-
is the lower house.
Yes.
But now I am very clarified that when you are
So
going
now,
to be
now we're
particular,
starting
Senate.
to see a pattern, ka Eric, that when you issue statements, we need to go through a process of filtration and clarification before we can actually get to the real truth.
And that is a processor of proper discussion that requires interaction with the source, with the delivery
Which
of information.
unfortunately is not proper in media practice.
Well, I respect your opinion, sir.
Did you undergo a KBP seminar? And are you a verified member of the KBP, Eric?
Personally, sir, I am not a registered kapisanan ng broadcaster member, but I do not see it as a requirement
So-
for me to be a broadcaster.
Yeah, so therefore, you did not undergo the seminar on the Code of Ethics.
But I read it,
No, okay.
and I understand how it is contented.
Answer lang, yes or no?
Yeah, there was no seminar held about that question of Honorable Suarez.
So you did not attend the seminar. You weren't given any verification from the KBP.
Personally, I was not given any
Because meron po
certificate.
sa Code of Ethics na sinusunod. At doon po sa Code of Ethics na sinasabi nila, babasahin ko lang po Pagdating sa mga unconfirmed reports shall not be aired unless there is an immediate and urgent need for the public to know about them, such as when the public needs to be warned of the possibility of an imminent danger. When such reports are aired, it must be emphasized that they are unconfirmed. You did not mention that the figure you gave was unconfirmed.
Sir, may I respond, please? Your
Yes.
Honor, Mr. Chairman. 3 beses ko pong binalikan yung episode na binabanggit ni Honorable Suarez. We did not conclude, we did not insist that gospel truth yung information. What I said there is,
Oo.
we are going to verify from Congress, from the Office of Speaker Martin Romualdez, and we are calling out that kind of notice because we know that we need to follow up on the report and information, but because it was aired as a context reference to the interview of former Secretary Greco Bilica pertaining to DNR expenses on travel, biglaan po siyang lumusot doon sa pag-uusap na
So
yun.
then there's responsibility on your part, Eric. Kasi kung may ganyang kalaking numero, at the very least, dapat sasabihin ninyo or dapat tinanong nyo muna yung House Secretary General. Ang laking number nun,
Yeah, 1.8 billion.
1.8 billion. At kung sino mang ordinaryong mamamayan ang makakarinig mula sa telebisyon na gumastos ang speaker ng 1.8 billion pesos, nakakapanira po ng puri yun. Kaso lang, you were blatant enough to come out on TV and say it straightforward. And the discussion was, and if I remember it right, sinabi mo, tapos sinabi po yata ni Yusek Badoy, how do you spend 1.8 billion pesos? That's such a huge amount. Siguro hindi na umuwi yan sa bahay. At tapos sinabi mo pa, dinagdagan mo, at base sa source ko, hindi lang 1.8 billion to. Kasi kung isasama mo ang entourage, aabot pa po to ng 2 billion piso.
I
So
admit to that.
Yes, that is not a question.
But the context should be factored in, sir, Your Honor.
No. That is not a question.
Of course, that is your valid observation. I will respect.
That is a clear statement, because if you wanted to pose a question, you would have said, we have an unverified number and this is not confirmed, and we want to seek clarification on this. And before we throw this number out, because it is so huge, we will first seek the guidance or the certification from the House of Representatives. Kaso lang hindi po eh. Nilabas yun eh. Na ang tanong ko, KBP, nandito po ba kayo? Ano po ang usual practice ninyo pag kayo po ay makakatanggap? Kunyari, kayo po, broadcaster, at napalagay po kayo sa posisyon ni Ka Eric, meron po kayong isang source na talagang nagbibigay ng mga balita sa iyo, tapos may isang number na nag-text sa inyo. Ano pong practice ang gagawin ng isang KBP member bago ilabas ang datos?
Verification, Your Honor, from another source.
Verification from another source.
Or from the party alleged to or being imputed on.
Okay. Or from the party being alleged.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now my question is, following our discussion, did they follow those two steps?
My opinion is they did not, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. So, going back, Mr. Chair, so I'll just reserve my other questions for the next round.
Very much, the Honorable J.J. Suarez. KBP, hindi po siya nag-seminar sa inyo. Hindi po siya membro ng KBP. Tanong, hindi din siya dapat tumunod doon sa broadcaster. Is he bounded by the broadcaster's code? Or?
Well, since he is not accredited by the KBP, there's no direct authority of KBP over him. However, the authority is over the network, who is bound to use only accredited members.
So you're now telling me that that is a violation of the rules of KBP?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. Na dapat ang anchor personnel ay accredited.
All persons who go in there in a member station must be accredited by the
Is that clear with all franchisees?
all members of KBP.
All members of KBP? That's very clear.
That's a given rule, Your Honor.
And this has been there for quite some time, that rule.
Since the beginning of KBP 50
Which
years,
is when?
50 years ago, Your Honor.
50. Thank you very much. Okay, the Honorable Romeo Aco is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kanina pa po ako nakikinig sa mga tanong at sagot eh. And I would like to thank the Honorable Castro for giving me her slot. Kasi mula pa ako kanina umaga dito, Mr. Chair, dahil nag-hearing kami sa Committee on Transportation ng 9 o'clock. Now, going back to Madam Yusek Badoy, tama po ba yung pagkarinig ko na hindi po kayo, yung programa po ninyo ay hindi po programa ng paninira ng puri ng isang tao? Did I hear it right?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, yes, you heard it right.
Yeah. Meron po ba kayong YouTube account?
Ako po, sir. Mr.
Yes.
Chair, ako. Meron, Mr. Chair, pero hindi ko halos tinitignan.
Kasi sinong nagpo-post nitong mga pinapadala sa akin? For example, Lorraine Mariti Badoy. SMNI is being silenced because of the current alignment of the speaker with the terrorist CPP, NPA, NDF in Congress. Our Facebook page has been taken down again. Our right to free expression is the bedrock of democracy. Pinadala rin po sa akin dito. Pangalan nyo na rin po ang nandito, dated 18 November. No one, and I mean no one, wins a fight against Rodrigo Roa Duterte. I do not know what your basis there. Anong klaseng laban ang sinasabi po ninyo? Least of all, a corrupt trapo oligarch who had the bad sense to draw the first blood and a lack of political sophistication to align with the highly despised terrorist front of the CPP, NPA, NDF, and the Kamatayan Bloc. Picture po ni Speaker nandito.
Ang sumunod po ay